Yeah,
Hello,
baby.
everybody.
Slick.
We're here. We're live with production values and intros and everything. Welcome to the March 2021 live stream, as presented by the three of us, the Sequelizers. Welcome, dear patrons. How are you? Hope everybody's well. I'll get the chats going. Already have a little wave from Canis Rufus and a woo from Mike Salvia. and a nice intro there as well. Thank you, Mike. We've got some production value now. We've been working on some things. John Scarrett, our very own fantastic artist, worked on that little Sequelizer specific intro for us. So thank you once again, John, for providing us with production value.
Making
we
us
don't
look
typically have it.
far better than we have any right to do.
Exactly. Making us look way more professional. And speaking of John Scarrett, he's only in the bloody chat.
Oh my god.
Mr. Scarrett himself joining.
It's
So,
your boy.
listeners, if you have any questions for John, feel free to send them over to him. We'll answer any questions you have as well. And, of course, we'll get to our director showdown later on as well. So, gentlemen, how are you both?
We're good. Do
We're
we
recording an episode today.
Yeah, we've literally finished recording an episode about half an hour ago. Less than that
Yeah.
even.
Yeah.
Uh,
We'll to break the fourth wall there, we were literally like, okay, we'll plan the day, we'll do an episode, and then we'll do the live stream later on. That'll all be fine. We always run it over when we record episodes. And we were like, yeah, we'll have like an hour's break. Everything will be fine. We finished at like literally half an hour ago. I'm like, quick, grab a drink, have a wee, get back on the live stream.
I decided to shave my
Running
hair.
around. Oh wow, you had time to shave your head.
Yeah, it's all
Very exciting.
slick now. Yeah, you're welcome. You're welcome,
Nice,
everybody.
nice. It's a proper presentation for the live stream there, Matt. I appreciate that.
Yep,
You
I changed
put 'em
my
in
shirt.
yourself.
yeah.
Not that it needed to be changed, but I changed it. all part of the package.
Yeah.
Part of the package, exactly.
Yeah.
Of course, Jonathan Firth Clark in the chat as always, and a few of the patron guys thanking John for their fantastic avatars. As you can see, the work of John Scarrett. You can literally see Mike Salvia's little Kano-inspired one there, and
Yeah.
of course Jonathan Firth Clark's one, which is himself in a Matrix style with the blue and the red pills and the glasses and stuff. So yeah, the work of John Scarrett is on display. And
John as Morpheus, or as I like to call it, Jorpheus.
Poor man. till the
Exactly.
ages.
Exactly. I will chuck a link to John Scarrett's website in the chat so you guys can go and check out his work there as well. As always, he's got some fantastic zines. He's got some really cool prints and stuff available, so you can go to johnscarrett.co.uk, and if you're watching this live, I have just posted a link in the chat you can go and check out now. That is johnscarrett.co.uk, and you can go and check out John's fantastic stuff there. I have his Hannibal zine around here somewhere, and I absolutely adore it. It is one of my favourites.
I was reorganising a bunch of stuff a couple of weeks ago and came across sort of sorting out zines and things, and came across my Faces of Nick Cage zine
brilliant.
of John's that is just gorgeous.
Is that him eating? The
It's
Nick
yes,
Cage
it's
eating
him
one?
like reacting to foods.
Nicholas and the snacks.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, dear. So, we teased the little director stuff at the top of the show. Tim, do you want to remind us of the teasers
Yes.
before we get to that later on in the live stream?
So, our clues for the director that we're going to be bracketing this time is a highly influential American director who won an Academy Award for a film he worked on as a student and appears in 4 of his own films under a pseudonym. So, I know we
Very
had some guesses in the Discord. I don't think anyone got it the last time I looked.
I haven't seen any that were correct. I definitely saw a few coming through on the Discord, but very interesting. Very interesting. There's a little tease for you. I think our early ones have been a little bit more obvious, maybe. And we're going to get a few guesses on the chat here in a second, I'm sure. But there we go. Philip Morgan comes in straight away with Spike Lee. Good guess, Philip. But it's not right.
It's not the one.
That's not the one. To coin a catchphrase. And JFC coming in with, I'm going to guess, John Waters.
John Waters,
John.
man, that would be an interesting one.
Also-
I have not watched a huge amount, especially of his early
I don't think
stuff.
I've seen a single John Waters movie. I'll put that out there right now. I'm not sure if I've seen a single one, so it's not John Waters, I'm afraid. Although you're not that far off. Jonathan Firth Clark, you're not a
I can
million
see what
miles
you're doing,
off.
but no.
Close in some ways and very different in others.
Very, very separate in other ways. And JSC also correctly guesses Matt's seen them all.
Yeah.
John Waters
We've seen
films?
every.
No.
Really?
I've seen.
You
a
don't have
fair
like, oh yeah,
few.
I've got the Blu-ray box set just lying around next to you, like.
Don't
like
think
you
there is a
usually do.
Blu-ray thing. I mean, obviously, Pink Flamingos and stuff. Not everyone's kind of seen it. Everyone has assumed.
No,
they've
I've
seen
absolutely not seen Pink Flamingos, Matt. I don't know what you're talking.
Yeah, I think Hairspray is the one everyone's probably seen, or at least is aware of.
That's his biggest.
I'm aware of it.
Yeah.
Not
hit,
seen it.
I think.
But I think I only own a handful. I feel like I own Crybaby and Hairspray, and I want to say Pink Flamingos. But that might be it. So there's a whole ream of stuff that I don't have access to.
Interesting. Interesting.
It's
Couple more
fine.
guesses coming in. John Hughes from JFC. Interesting
Hughes
guess.
would be a very interesting one to do.
And that's an interesting one to do. That's an interesting one to do. Maybe it is. Maybe it isn't. We'll find out. Out. A auteur of auteurs suggested by Mr. Scarrett himself, Mr. Fred Durst.
The John Travolta Stalker movie. Great.
Oh,
Oh, another person who also has a John Scarrett avatar coming in straight away. Andy Steen. Welcome, Andy.
hey.
Steven Soderbergh. Not a bad guess. Not a bad
Yeah.
guess.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not Steven Soderbergh. Nobody has guessed it so far.
A
that
lot
I've
of these
seen.
names are names that we have boundied around when we've been considering who to do.
Yeah, that's John Waters.
And we say this with the sequels, like, oh, it's on the list. Like, these guys are on the list to do the
Yeah.
director breakdown. We've already curated a list of potential future directors we'll be doing this with. So
Yeah.
don't you worry, dear listeners. And viewers now. Viewers, oh, that's a weird thing to say. Still not used to it. Shout out to the live chat and everybody joining us later on YouTube as well, because you can rewatch this on YouTube by going to our Sequelizers YouTube channel. It's all packaged there in lovely VOD, and hopefully my camera's working a bit better now. I'm actually using my phone as a webcam this time and trying to kind of experiment with it, so hopefully it's a little bit clearer. You can see a bit more shine in my glasses from my lighting and stuff.
I'll tell you what. I'll tell you what fucks me
Eventually,
off.
we'll be coming to you in like 3D, high def, virtual reality. You'll teleport into a virtual leather sofa in Matt's living room.
I mean, I put on aftershave for nobody.
I changed my t-shirt for nobody as well. Yeah.
It's also I did shave my head. That was kind of part of it. But it's one of those things whereby I'll tell you what fucks me off about the cameras, because obviously Jack's much clearer than he has been in the past.
My laptop webcam is garbage, so I've found a way to jury rig. I will somehow take a photo of my setup here, and it's botchamania over here. It's just all bodged together.
See, my problem is that it shows me the flipped image. So if I'm like, oh, my moustache is drooping, it's like, no, that's the wrong side.
You can change that in the settings, I think, Matt. You can flip that around.
I mean, people say that, but can they?
Because I'm round the other way as well. Yeah. Interesting from JSC here. I really want it to be someone unknown journeyman director only Matt has heard of. How the fuck would we decide the who goes to the next round then, John? That doesn't make any sense.
Just throw it to the audience.
Me
every
and
time
Tim just go,
"Mm."
and
Yeah,
then
sounds
Matt
like a shit
goes,
title.
I think this film. Okay, yeah, Matt picks
We'll
next
trust you,
round.
Matt.
Yeah, exactly.
I
I
mean,
mean, I
it
do
would-
that sometimes.
It would be interesting to do someone who is not thought of as like an auteur or someone who has a particular style, but who has done a bunch of movies that people have seen.
Yeah.
In that sense of like journeyman.
I mean, Ridley Scott was kind of like that in a way, because it's like, oh, Ridley Scott, yeah, and that's thinking, hang on, there's tons of Ridley Scott films that I've, and not me personally, obviously the viewers.
No, not me. I've seen them
Not
all.
me.
But the plebs out there.
All you dirty serfs. But it's true. It's like, oh, you think you've seen a huge range of their stuff. And it's like, oh, Steven Spielberg. I've seen all Spielberg's films. I mean, like, start listing off his earlier stuff and think, oh, maybe I haven't actually. Oh, God, I never got around to seeing that. Well, that looked arse.
I've done that quite a few times, yeah.
Oh,
It's not a bad thing. It's just...
Oh, yeah, he did a version of the BFG. You know?
Oh, Christ.
Yeah.
Suggestion from John Scarrett for a future one here. Tim Burton is an interesting shout. I don't particularly like Tim Burton, but it's an interesting. It's interesting.
It would. There's definitely. I feel like there's a strong line between good Burton and bad Burton.
Oh yeah, it's quite distinct. In my opinion.
Definitely.
Yeah.
What's
there'd
the
be some
cut-off
very
year?
easy
We need to
decisions
work
in that
out
one.
the cut-off year. Like
I don't think it's
2002, and then yeah.
I think.
Or do you think he goes good, bad, like a Star Trek film? He goes good, bad, good, bad.
I think he relies too heavily on CGI. But I mean, okay. So if you think about it, one could argue it was very clearly 2005, because you say, well, Sweeney Todd was fine. Alice in Wonderland made $1 billion somehow, but isn't exactly brilliant. Dark Shadows is bad. Frankenweenie's all right. Big Eyes is interesting, not good necessarily. Miss Peregrine's Home for Peculiar Children exists, and Dumbo isn't great. And you're like, oh well, so what was the big 2005? And it's like Corpse Bride. It's like, nah, Corpse Bride's a good film. A lot of effort that got in there.
I like Corpse Bride.
As well as the same year as Charlie and the Chocolate Factory. And you're like, oh, maybe 2005's not good.
Oh,
Yeah.
God. Some more people saying yes to John Hughes, by the way. That's what we'll
Funnily
clearly
enough,
definitely have to do. It's needed by the listeners.
We were having a discussion earlier, not to spoil a future episode too much, about misleading trailers. And one of the ones that I almost picked was the Sweeney Todd one, where it barely showed any singing.
Yes.
And was just trying to make it look like a Tim Burton, like, weird Victorian revenge film. And it's like, no. There's a lot of music. It's a musical.
London. Oh, fuck. Oh, God, that film.
To shiver the face. I quite like
Joanna! I remember someone saying on the internet, I peel you banana.
Okay, I love that. That's the version we need to do, is a fruit and veg. The grocer's version of...
Or the fucking
my
Minions
relative.
version.
Yeah, oh, God. That's exactly what the Minions were. Tim Burton directed Minions. That's exactly what that would do. Good Lord. Maggie Mayfish has a great video essay on Tim Burton about how he's an auteur filmmaker that falls short of doing meaningful movies. Yeah, we'll have to check that
I
out,
think
definitely.
one of his problems is he makes so many adaptations. And I'd like to see him do more, either writing or just working from original screenplays. Like, so much of his stuff is, let's take X and put a weird Tim Burton filter on it. And, like, that grows old very, very quickly, because his bag of tricks is, when he's not forced to innovate, his bag of tricks is very small. But when he does something like Big Fish, like, it can actually be really visually interesting, but then sometimes you just end up with fucking Dark Shadows, where everything just looks like...
Oh, God, Dark Shadows.
Yeah.
Look, I don't know quite where this is coming from, but fucking Predators. Did Tim Burton direct Predators? Did I miss something?
No.
That might be
John
a
Hughes? Oh my God.
misleading film trailer, perhaps.
Ah, yes, possibly. Yeah, that makes a lot more sense. I do like, as much as I'm not a big Tim Burton fan, I do like the idea of Headless Horseman versus Batman showdown.
Depending
Sleepy
on the
Hollow
seeding,
versus Batman.
that would be a finale I would expect. Or probably
Yeah,
Headless...
yeah, possibly.
Actually, no, Nightmare Before Christmas he didn't direct, so that doesn't count.
No.
Yeah.
It's called like Tim Burton's Nightmare Before Christmas, but he was just a
Yes.
producer and
Directed by Henry
art
Selick.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I genuinely think Batman and yeah, Batman.
They're two
and,
Burton films I like, so
Sleepy
that
Hollow,
makes sense.
the two best he's done, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
I would have
But again-
liked Sleepy Hollow more if it had a Prince soundtrack. Just gonna throw that out there.
Oh God.
But again, it all comes out. That's why the way the seeding is so interesting, because we don't just like chuck them on randomly or alphabetically or whatever it's going to be. There is a specifically structured order to seed it properly, so you don't have the first four going against each other. They are
Yeah, it's
the
not like
top form.
chronological, which would
Yeah.
completely fuck it. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's
precisely.
interesting because certain things also, depending on the number of films that director has done, certain things get a buy in the first round, and they bypass the first round and go through just because of the way they're seeded and stuff.
Yes.
We may be seeing that in today's director showdown. Who knows? There's a little tease for you.
Well, we know John knows.
Yeah, exactly. Fun enough, something we were recently talking about is doing some trailer reaction videos and stuff. And here's a little discussion point from Andy Steen. Have you seen or discussed the Suicide Squad trailer, which is the James Gunn recently released Suicide Squad trailer? Gentlemen, have you seen the Suicide Squad trailer, and what did you think?
Yes. And yes.
Looks like Guardians, but DC. Sign me up.
It looks good and irreverent and silly, and it utilizes the characters well. And the moment I thought this is going to be quite good should be Sylvester Stallone in a I Am Groot moment of hand.
Yeah.
As King Shark. Well, King Shark in the
Blew my
hardcore
mind that
animated
was
series is-
actually Sylvester Stallone. I had assumed that was somebody doing a silly voice. Like, nope,
yeah,
legit
Sylvester
Sylvester
Stallone.
Stallone.
It's Steve Agee. Agee did the
Agee,
motion capture
yeah.
for
Yeah.
all of it. Yeah, and I think he's also in the film as like a technician or something.
That wouldn't surprise me at all.
Yeah.
But it was the moment where they're on the rooftop and saying, "If you step out of line, we kill you. If you do this," and then Harley Quinn comes in. If you is it the coughing that she comes in with
If
first?
you cough
Or no,
without covering your
if,
hand.
If you have a personalized license plate, we're going to kill you. It's like, well, no,
Yeah.
not that. And if you cough, that kind of irreverence and silly energy and pacing. Now, admittedly, if you're obviously watching that trailer, it's like that bounces so quickly. And I was like, it's not like that in the film, right? That might be a long, drawn-out scene. It might be
Yeah,
entirely.
exactly.
Trailers are very misleading. Sometimes you could be watching something, and think Iron Man 2's trailer. It's like 20% of this is, or maybe even 40% is not in the movie. So yeah,
Unfortunately, a lot of trailers end up doing that, don't they?
very much so, because it's so early in production. You don't tend to know what you actually end up with the finished product, and alternate takes and different grading for the thing and blah blah.
There's been a lot of problems with that in the video games industry in the last decade or so as well. It's just
Very
like,
true.
here's a vertical slice of alpha footage, and then none of this is in the final product because we had none of this ready and we've just been winging it. And
Well-
the way video game trailers work is
Yeah.
like, often I use that term vertical slice, so they'll have one tiny little piece of the game super prepared, and if you do anything outside of basically what is pre-scripted or that particular era for that trailer, nothing exists, and you fall through the world and all that kind of stuff, and they will prepare and fine-tune this little piece that's specific to the trailer. So that's what I meant by vertical slice, and that's very, very common in the games industry, where you'll have a trailer years and years out from actually releasing the thing. So most of the assets aren't even built. There's no voice acting that's actually been recorded that's going to be in the final version and all that kind of stuff. So it's a difficult one when you have such a long lead time and such a long develop time with that kind of stuff, and the same applies to films as well. You'll get a lot of like, that's not how that CGI looks in the final movie. Oh my god.
I have a trailer which I did after we won. Well, after I won Best Director for Super Happy Kill Time, and we were like, okay, well, off the back of that, we should have something going. And I did a Series 4, 5, and 6 trailer to show what was like the next 3 or 4 years of this project. Obviously, a lot of those shots will change. Not necessarily in the shots we got and used, but the visual effects have changed, the grade will change. It's more just a flavour thing, a sizzle reel, if you will.
Yeah.
I mean, the classic thing when we were kids was always like, you'd see a trailer for a game and go, fuck, that looks amazing. And they'd have to put the disclaimer, not actual game footage.
Yes.
Not actual game footage. Yeah, of course, of
Yeah.
course.
Not actual film
Speaking of
footage.
which, example from JFC there, Killzone 2 reveal trailer was a bunch of bullshit. I don't mind Killzone, but I'm glad that they moved on to doing better things like Horizon Zero Dawn. 'Cause
Yeah, agree.
I'm excited for Horizon Forbidden West. Starro.
Yeah.
I can't believe they're doing Starro. I mean,
I can.
James Gunn, so it kind of makes sense. But fuck
I
me.
like, part of me is like, Gunn is the perfect filmmaker to tackle Starro, and part of me is kind of disappointed because I think you could legit do like an interesting body snatchers, like maybe do like I could see Starro working in like a Green Lantern film or something like that, and actually do
Definitely,
like
definitely.
an alien invasion plot. But fucking like big starfish alien enemy, and throw a kaiju size
We've got
one
a
in there
kaiju.
for good measure.
I mean, this is
I-
not
yeah,
what the game
I-
does, where it's evil Superman. And it's like,
Oh
oh,
yeah,
great.
Yeah, I'm so like there's a few characters in there where I'm not 100% on board with the casting, or I'm kind of disappointed because I know so many of them are going to get killed.
Yes.
But I
And
also
all the posters say at the bottom, "Don't get attached."
yeah, I
It's a Suicide Squad.
I trust Gunn to be able to like pull off the dark humor and just the pure like anyone can die ness of
Yeah,
it, which was
Exactly.
done, executed so. I mean, we've talked about Suicide Squad in the past and how bad it is, but like when you give each character like a distinct introduction, and then you bring on one extra character who doesn't get that introduction, and then kill him off immediately. It's like, well, obviously that was the one that was going to fucking die in your. Yeah, we're going to kill. Like so many people are going to die in this film. Like that. That's just basic
just bad
like
planning, it's
storytelling,
poor writing.
filmmaking.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, so frustrating. So I'm tentatively excited about Suicide Squad.
Clearly, King Shark is going down well with the viewers.
Yes. Yeah.
King Shark isn't shredded. He looks huggable. And
Yeah.
King Shark is Bay. He's going to win the film.
Again, I think King Shark will be fun, but the problem is, this last 2 years I've seen a better version of King Shark in the Harley Quinn animated series, which is really fucking good. It's a great series, and the fact that he's more like a friendly tech guy who also kind of goes mad at the sight of blood is just brilliant. I think it's fantastic.
My prediction is that I think Polka Dot Man is going to be the secret weapon in that film, both in terms of how fun the character is going to be, and I think they might have a thing where he's like really stupid throughout, and then like has a thing at the final moment that's like, oh, actually, I have this other ability that I haven't been using, and that saves the day.
Yeah.
Nice. Yeah, I like that idea. Good point here from John saying Starro needs to be in a slightly deranged, off-the-wall film. He wouldn't fit in the Snyderverse. Agreed. This is a James Gunn-ass move.
Yeah.
This is Snyder and Gunn's humour and approach to filmmaking basically couldn't be further apart. And I'm very interested to see Gunn, see how he transitions from the MCU, doing Guardians 1 and Guardians 2, moving over to the Suicide Squad. It's gonna get a lot of comparisons. It's unavoidable. You've got the big group of characters. You've got the are they good guys, are they bad guys kind of thing. There's so many parallels you can draw there, and essentially what I hope at the end of the day is that it's able to differentiate itself from the Guardians franchise and be enough of a movie on its own to stand alone, and without all the DC fanboys being like, oh, it's so much better than Guardians. Like, if we can get away from those comparisons and the film can make itself feel unique and interesting in its own right, that's, at the end of the day, I would consider that a success.
The strength the DC films have going for them at the moment is that they don't have a unified aesthetic and a kind of like house style to them.
True.
And that there is room for like Shazam to exist alongside Aquaman, to exist alongside this film, like to even exist along something. I know it's not like even in the universe, but like to exist along something like Joker. Like I haven't seen Joker. I'm not particularly interested in watching that film, but I like for people who want that. I'm like, yeah, it's fine that can exist. Like, and I like that you can have these films that don't necessarily have to have the tightest of continuity, because Marvel has that going for it, and it's a lot of fun, and it allows you to do stuff like Endgame, but it also limits you in certain ways, because it gives you like, no, this is the universe, and everything has to feasibly fit in it, even though we'll try and like push tone in different directions. You know, there's a limit to how wild things can get.
Before anyone asks, just in case they do ask, we will not be taking Snyder Justice League questions at this time.
We've discussed it with our solicitors.
We will direct people to our previously prepared statement,
which is mostly just a sad gibbon.
Yeah, exactly.
But yeah, so we will come back to the Snyderverse in great detail and length, just not right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Another comparison that Mike points out is, he has Sean Gunn playing an anthropomorphic trash animal.
Yes.
You're not wrong. You're not wrong, Mike. Like,
yeah.
The fact that Weasel is basically Rocket but mental, like, yeah, that's not lost on me.
Yeah.
I do think it's interesting that like they've already greenlit a John Cena-led TV show spin-off.
That's so
I'm like,
weird.
granted, greenlighting stuff is fairly normal. You'll often get
Yeah.
a sequel that's greenlit even before the original film comes out and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
That's not unheard of. But a spin-off TV show starring John Cena? It's like, what?
Well,
That
HBO
is
Max is
so
the thing you want to be
strange.
pushing. That makes it's no different to doing the whole. Wait, you were doing a Disney Plus series with Paul Bettany and
Yeah.
Elizabeth Olsen? It's like, yeah, I mean, it makes sense, but it's just it's a weird one. 'Cause-
I struggle to see what that will be like, given that it is a character that is so rooted in kind of parody, you
Yes,
know, and
exactly.
is best known
Yeah.
for being the character that then got turned into the comedian for Watchmen.
yeah.
You know, like, yeah, I struggle to see what that's going to look like. But then we haven't seen the film yet. We haven't seen John Cena's performance.
No.
We haven't, you know, all we know is, oh, they've greenlit it for a series. We have no idea what it's going to look like. So
Yeah.
Can John Cena follow in The Rock's footsteps and become a legit, and I guess Dave Bautista's footsteps as well, and become a legit Hollywood star? Because
Every
The
every
Rock is on
wrestler
another
tries.
level. If you'd have told me, 15 years ago when I was watching him on Raw and SmackDown, that, or even like 25 years ago, sorry, more specifically, like that The Rock would be the highest grossing and highest paid actor in the world, going by his real name of Dwayne, I'd
Yeah.
be like, I don't. First of all, he's not called Dwayne. He's too cool. Second of all, what the fuck is going on? That is
I
insane.
really
And
like
then-
Cena. Like, as someone
Yeah,
who doesn't really
yeah.
follow wrestling, I everything I've seen him in, I've really enjoyed. Like, I liked, like, he's great in Bumblebee. He's great in
He is good in
Blockers.
Bumblebee, yeah.
Yeah, like I have no problem with, like, and I'm sure that there are other wrestlers who could perfectly make that transition.
I mean, so much of wrestling is acting. It totally makes sense. It's a
Yeah.
big soap
it's true.
opera, basically.
True.
You've got,
Yeah.
as well as the cutting the promos and doing the stuff in the ring, you've kind of already got the choreography down with a lot of the physical stuff that's required for pro wrestling. And then so much of the acting, you have the backstage skits and the kind of like, remembering your lines for your promos and all those kind of like transferable skills that do kind of end up coming. And even going from, I remember an interview with John Cena when he was talking about transitioning from, live shows and stuff. He's like, it is so refreshing to be able to do retakes because I have spent the last 15 years of my life being like, you walk out there and whatever you say in front of that crowd is what that crowd reacts to. And you are live on television for millions of people for like minutes and minutes at a time. Sometimes doing like one long promo just by himself, stood in a ring in front of thousands of people being watched by millions of people at home. And then it's like, yeah, go again, John. He's like, oh, thank God. Oh, I get another take. I get another cut. That's fine. I completely messed up that line. And I'll just go again.
And it doesn't surprise me that they've, like, both The Rock and to an even greater extent, it seems like John Cena have done well in like modern American comedies where they have that very like let's do an improv take, let's do several improv takes, just kind of throw out what you're feeling, because like you say, like so much of wrestling you have to be able to think on your feet, it's performing in front of a live audience and going with the flow of like, if something weird happens, you have to be able to adapt to that and make it part of the story that you're telling. And so I can see a lot of crossover between like wrestling and improv comedy, and so it makes sense that you can throw John Cena into something like Trainwreck or whatever, and he'll work really well.
And it's not a coincidence that The Rock, Batista, and John Cena are also as wide as they are tall and have that kind of physical comedy to them as well. Like, you get John Cena to play a silly, bumbling character, and it's like, he's like the Clark Kent. Like, he is a literal bloody Superman from what we've seen before. And then now he's just bumbling about and being silly, or, having that thing and playing against his physical type, because back in the day, he was like a white boy rapper character. I don't know if you remember if you know the Doctor of Thugonomics, doing that with the chain gang and stuff. It was real Real awkward. Vince McMahon called John Cena the N-word on Raw. It was real weird.
What?
Oh yeah, that's the thing. And there's been a
Holy
big controversy
shit.
recently. So yeah, 2 white guys saying the N-word, everything's fine. Welcome to WWE.
Oh, Christ.
And
Okay.
they've transitioned the WWE Network over to Peacock streaming service, which is I believe is NBC Universal's
Yeah.
streaming service, and it has not gone well. And they're also editing out all the controversial stuff from back in the day,
Oh,
including
okay.
the use of the N-word and the blackface moments and the bit where
Yeah.
Kane had sex with a corpse, etc., etc.
Fucking
You know,
hell.
the Katie Vick incident. Yeah, Peacock somehow they're just like, yeah, transfer the library. We'll worry about that later. And then there's some poor content editor guy who getting paid like $15 an hour. It's like,
Yep.
hey, so do you wanna
Make
just
this
review
palatable.
11,000 hours of footage and just be like, just make sure there's nothing too offensive in there. So the owner of the company just said the N-word to another white guy? What do I do about that? And he's like, get rid of that. Yeah. It's mental. It's mental. It was like, the great point there from Mike. They already edited out by the time it made it to the West Coast of America. For those who don't know, there's a time delay between the East Coast, and I think it's a 3 or 4 hour, depending on the time zone stuff, delay between East and West Coast.
Yeah.
They knew they fucked up. Like,
Yeah.
the 60 whatever year old boss of the company is just like, "What's up, my N-word?" And you're like, "Oh God, did you think that was funny? I don't know what's going
It's
on."
like
Oh,
it's like
my
remembering
God.
that Nick Frost says it in Shaun of the Dead.
Yes.
Yeah.
When we talked about the Cornetto trilogy not too long ago, he says, "Sup my N-words," and I'm like, "Oh, that feels weird."
Yeah.
Was that okay even back then? I feel like it wasn't. I feel like it's
No.
already the 21st century. Like,
Yeah.
this is weird.
It's the only and I know, okay, this is not a thing I have any authority to comment on, obviously, but I tend to feel the only thing you could do is if you are making a period piece set in a specific time and you're not overshadowing, like, no, this was a problem, we need to address it, then it's in context.
12 Years a Slave. You have characters who are playing slave owners way back in the day. Kind of makes a bit more sense.
But then you also
Yeah.
get too much indulgence in things like Django Unchained, and you feel
And
like,
then you get,
do you
I was
just wanna
about to
say
say,
it,
then you get
Tarantino?
Django Unchained.
Yeah.
Because Tarantino also says it in Pulp Fiction as
Yeah.
himself on screen, like the character
Yeah.
Jimmy. He's playing the character of Jimmy, and he says it as well. I don't know how we got off onto this tangent. I'm sorry, but talking about the history of white guys saying the N-word on screen. Welcome to the
Cinema.
live stream, everybody.
um,
Family friendly, and we're available for children's parties.
just going to cycle back to the Suicide Squad for a second, just to close things off, because I didn't realize this until recently. So I was watching the movie and thought, okay, here we go, characters and blah, blah, blah. Don't get too attached. It's going to be entertaining and silly, irreverent. It looks bombastic and colourful. Great. And you will be rescuing me. I can go back inside. And oh, great. And he introduced himself, and Idris Elba was like, Bloodsport. And I'm like, Bloodsport? And I hadn't realised that they hadn't... Their original plan was to have Idris Elba replace Will Smith as Deadshot. And they just gave him a new
Yes.
character. I'm like, good. I'm glad you just gave him a new character. There was no
Yeah,
reason
James
to
Gunn
say-
said he wrote Bloodsport specifically for Idris Elba because he wanted Idris Elba involved.
Yeah.
And then that whole thing happened, and he was like, "I'm gonna make a character for you. How about that? How about we have an original?" Yeah.
I think
I
he
prefer
is
that.
vaguely based, but it's like such
I
an
wouldn't be
obscure DC
surprised.
character that nobody gives
Yeah.
a shit. Which is what the Suicide Squad should be full of. Like it should be
Exactly,
like
yeah.
3 or 4 people who are like kind of like decent sized names, and then the rest should be like Weasel and
And then also El Diablo or
yeah,
Slipknot,
Javelin and stuff
yeah.
like that.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm hearing the Joker. Is the Joker a good idea? Let's put the Joker in this movie. No, that's not.
Let's never have Jared Leto's Joker in any other movie. Can we
Back
agree
to
on that, please?
Snyder's
I think
Justice League
yeah.
again.
I know. Well,
Fuck's sake.
we will get to that at some point.
Yeah.
There was a question earlier from Philip Morgan going back to
You're
wrestlers. How many wrestlers have shown their terrible film and TV actors? The
I
answer
mean,
is
quite a
all of the rest of them that aren't
Yeah.
those 3 people I just mentioned. Because you've got people like, I don't know, Hulk Hogan, The Big Show, Kane. Now,
Yeah.
Kane has played big, scary monster characters,
Yeah.
and he is a big, scary monster character. See No Evil, I believe, was a film that was
That's what I was thinking
basically
of,
like
Glenn
kind of like
Jacobs.
the origin story of the Kane character, as
Oh,
if
was
he's
it?
in character. There's one of them they talked about that,
Oh.
but in the wrestling they were acting as if Kane is in this film, not Glenn Jacobs,
Oh, I see.
which
That's
is
stupid.
which is
I think
mental.
a big part of it is that, like, for a long while, if you were a wrestler starring in a movie, the movie probably wasn't very good. And I think that there's some arguments to be made that there's probably some wrestlers out there who are in bad films, but could do better with better material. That
Well, a lot of
said,
them
I don't
start
think
off in the
I don't-
WWE Studios films, which are fucking terrible. Which
Yeah.
is where Cena started. He was the original The Marine,
Yes,
and he did a film called 12 Rounds and
Yeah.
a bunch of other
most of which have
bullshit
sequels
action bollocks.
with like other WWE wrestlers in now.
I
People
will-
Yeah.
such as Mike the Miz, because Mike Mizanin, aka the Miz, the
Yeah.
recent WWE champion, because that's a thing.
Hmm.
He was in the Marine 4, 5, and 6, I believe, because
Yeah,
Ted DiBiase Jr., who is the son of the real life son of the $1 Million Man, Ted DiBiase from the 80s and 90s, he took over as the Marine and then left the WWE and hasn't been back since, basically. And yeah, he did the Marine 2, and then it spun off and became the Miz, and then Becky Lynch is in the Marine 6, and she's like the big breakout female star of the last couple of years. And there's rumours that she'll be going to Hollywood in the same way that Ronda Rousey went UFC to WWE to Fast and Furious and all that kind of stuff.
to Mortal Kombat.
To Mortal Kombat, sort of. It's a weird kind of transition. We're seeing a lot of people, and there's so much resentment within the wrestling community as well for people to be like, you abandoned us, you went off and joined Hollywood. And that was the whole thing of The Rock coming back in 2013, 2014, I want to say. He came back and I was like, I'm Hollywood The Rock now. Like, yeah, I'm the guy you love to hate because I went out and made my millions. And bear in mind, he'd only done like the Scorpion King and Walking Tall at this point, and that was it. So I was like, all right, Dwayne, come back. Like, oh, no, wait, no. Now you can say that. Now you're
Yeah.
the biggest star in the actual world.
I find it interesting because you do end up with this strange trend that happens after Kindergarten Cop, and I think we'll probably talk about this in an interseason episode at some point, where wrestlers suddenly want to appear less terrifying and that they're okay around kids. So they do like kids films. And I don't know if it's like, oh, well, kids are the primary audience for my wrestling stuff. It's like, they're kind of not.
Yeah, they were, and then they all grew up, and then
Yeah.
they never built a new fan base. So now wrestling fans are just a bunch of jaded 13-year-old kids,
Yeah.
and now jaded 40-year-old blokes.
yeah,
You know, it's just like, and that was the people who were like, when they going back to John Cena, when they made
Mm.
John Cena a huge thing, all the kids were like, "Yeah, John Cena," and it was "Let's go Cena," and then the opposite of that was "Cena sucks." So the chant would be "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks, let's go Cena," and it was always "Let's go Cena, Cena sucks, let's go Cena,
the
Cena
kids loved
sucks."
him, and all the
The
adults
kids
hated
loved his bright shirts and his "Yay America" and all that stuff, and buy all the hats and the T-shirts with all the bright green and the bright purple and all the horrible fucking colours that he had for his merchandise. And then all the blokes were like, "He's a wuss. He's not a real man's wrestler. Not like back in my
Where's
day."
his
when he had
moustache?
why is he drinking beers like Stone Cold and punching women like Stone Cold and punching old men like Stone Cold? I'm just talking about Stone Cold. They wanted to go back to the Attitude Era, which was all swearing and controversy and all this
yes.
kind of stuff. And it was John Cena was the face of the PG era, basically. This like transition where, as you said, WWE actively marketed towards kids, even though they'd kind of lost that audience for the most part, thanks to all the controversial mad shit they've been doing for the last 10 years.
Yeah.
So it's like, weird choices from the WWE
I would
in
say
general.
there are a few examples of people that are so good at in the roles they perform in. A lot of people don't realize they're wrestlers who aren't connected to any sort of wrestling scene. A good example is Lenny fucking
Kravitz.
Montana. I want to say his name is.
Lenny Montana.
Yeah, he played Luca Brasi in The Godfather. Apparently, he was a wrestler, and it's like,
there you go.
what? And there's tons of other things.
You get
Obviously, Batista.
The
I
old
think he was
school
like-
guys, yeah.
Oh yeah, definitely. And then I think The Rock, I think, is more famous as an actor than a wrestler. Obviously, people go, "Oh yeah, he did wrestling." And then you've got things like, was it Godzilla film? Final Wars had like Don Fry. There's a bunch of people who also Princess Bride, Andre the Giant. Now he didn't
Andre the Giant.
perform well in it in the sense he's not like a
As a
thespian. He's going to transition to a career.
here from Andy, Jesse Ventura. Jesse Ventura is in
There we
Predator.
Yes,
There you go.
he's brilliant in it.
Because everybody looks like a professional wrestler in that film. Have you seen
Damn
the son of a
sexual
bitch?
tyrannosaur.
Exactly. Sexual
Yep.
Tyrannosaurus. And that grip. The muscles. That's pro wrestling right there. Is that handshake just condensed?
There is also
Oh,
a very,
God.
very, very key segue here. I don't want to do it because I don't want to ruin it. But if we're about to segue into the director's thing, I've got a good segue for you.
Go for it, Matt. Go for it. Because we've got a couple of guesses, and we will reveal all.
Yeah.
Go for it, Matthew.
Rowdy Roddy Piper is in They Live.
He is. He
Yeah.
is in They Live.
Yeah.
And
And he holds the whole
somebody
film on
guessed
his
it.
own.
Andy Steen. John motherfucking Carpenter.
It's an interesting guess right there.
Interesting. Interesting.
Oh, we have
Carpenter
to
is
do
the
a
one I
thing.
want from John. Well, maybe we could do a little bit of a John Carpenter, eh? How about that? Ba-bam! We're doing Carpenter, folks.
We should say, fantastic work by John Scarrett in producing the graphics.
Once again,
It's-
John Scarrett.
It's getting better and better looking each time we do it.
Yeah.
In fact, I
So
will briefly
slick.
take us off. I will briefly take us off the stream so you can see this. You will just see the full image there. So that is the full bracket there. You've got the films of John Carpenter. As you can see, a few of them have been ranked already. A few of them have gone through to the next round. And basically, we'll be clicking through, and it's interactive. John Scarrett's the man. He's built this whole thing. It's all interactive. We will click through,
See
and
if
we'll
I can
basically
zoom for you guys.
it will all be
Oh.
yeah. Matt's in control. We can
Oh.
zoom, and we'll start off in this corner.
Oh.
We'll go through, we'll transition, and discuss
Yeah, we'll go through the whole thing. Don't worry.
some real good films. And some weird ones. But also some really good ones as well.
Before we go any further, we were supposed to do a thing, and I think now's a good time to do a thing. Before we get to doing the thing, because we were asked, we had a request to do a shout out, and we said, yeah, right, we'll do that. Did you want to explain, Jack, while I open this?
Certainly. So a long-time listener of ours, a patron of ours, it is in fact his birthday today. His 42nd birthday. So he is the meaning of the life, the universe, and everything, of course. Dr. Vincent Gain, happy birthday.
Happy
Yeah.
birthday, Vincent.
We got your card.
Got you a card. That's
We're gonna-
not in the post. It's on the
Oh.
stream. Hold on. I'll transition over to Matt. There we go.
There we go.
Okay, here we go.
Oh,
we go. Let's can see that. It's a dog with some glasses and a hand coming out its bum, and it says "Festive Greetings." Just so you know, the glasses and the hand, they weren't part of the card. I did
Really?
that. And let's
I mean,
see
it's
what's on it.
kind of a thing reference, right? Like with the
Kind
dog
of, yeah.
transitioning
Yeah,
into like
I
a
hadn't
big
even
monster.
thought of that. I just drew a hand coming out of a bum. And then on the inside, we have a little message from us which says, "Dear Vincent, Merry Birthmas from your boys, the Sequelizers." And there we go. Happy birthday. It feels like we're on this like a CBeebies show when I was a child in the
Yeah.
Boom Cupboard with Andy Peters, and you'd have like, oh, we got so and so's card, and you got the picture there of them. Well, that's them and their
Yeah.
little sister Jake, and so on. And you put
Oh,
a
we
little
all,
thing.
all get together and we all say happy
Yeah.
birthday on 3, 2, 1. Happy birthday! The chat is loving it as well. Happy
So we
birthday,
said we would,
Vincent.
and we have.
Happy birthday.
And we're gonna
Hippo
celebrate by
birdies to
eating
use.
these
Celebrate by eating copious
50
amounts of cream eggs.
cream eggs.
I will celebrate by eating some black bean flavoured veggie jerky.
Interesting.
Interesting.
Veggie jerky.
It's very nice. Very nice. I've never had jerky before, being a lifelong vegetarian.
I don't
So,
like jerky at
yeah.
all. Tim's alright with it, I think.
It's very dry. But, you know.
I'll eat some jerky.
Oh, okay. That's the full spread of jerky appreciation right there, I feel.
Back
Also,
to Carpenter.
well, happy early birthday for next week for Andy Steen as well.
Oh!
There you
Hey!
go. Multiple
Hey.
birthdays. Happy birthday, Vincent. Happy
Wait a
birthday
minute.
early for next week for
Wait a
Andy
minute.
as well.
Thursday is the 1st of April.
Is
Here's
he
a
playing
boring
an April? Are you playing an April Fool's on us, Andrew?
Yeah.
How dare you?
Here's the thing, though. I was supposed to be born on the exact same day, but instead, I stayed in the womb for 19 days.
It was
Because
just
the world
you were
wasn't
just chilling,
worth it.
just hanging out. Yeah.
Yeah, it's always that. But my first joke was my own birth. It's like April Fool's, motherfucker! I'm not gonna get born for another 19 days. Enjoy that.
Oh, Mum, you thought you thought everything was fine? Nope.
Nope.
Just gonna drag this out for another 3 weeks.
Yep. But
Oh,
yeah,
dear.
happy birthday for next week.
Yeah.
Happy birthday, Andy, for next week. Happy birthday, Vincent, for today.
Mm.
So, with the birthday shout-outs out of the way, with wrestling and all Suicide Squad discussion out of the way,
Yes, we're ready now.
it's John Carpenter time.
Let's
do
run
it.
you through what we got on the screen.
Do you want to zoom in for us, Matt, and have a little
Yes.
wiggle about and show us?
John Carpenter.
It's like a trailer.
I was hoping if I zoomed in really close, there'd be a thing at the bottom here that says
So,
scare.
yeah, we've already got a couple coming in, but if you want to make predictions for the final two and the winner of the overall,
Yeah.
please feel free to chuck them into the chat. We've got one already again from Andy Steen.
Yep.
The Thing or Big Trouble in Little China versus Halloween is his prediction. Say, that's not a final two, Andy. You are pushing it up there, but it's your birthday next week, so I'll let you off.
Yeah, just who's gonna win, people? Who do you think's gonna win?
Pick winners. Pick winners. What do you think?
I must be honest with you. I think this is quite clean cut for me personally. I'm not conflicted by almost
I
anything.
agree. I looked at this earlier today and I was like, okay, yeah. There's a couple I haven't seen. I will say that now. But for the most part, I did a version where I clicked through and it all made sense to me, and I was
Yep.
like, yeah, this
Yep.
makes sense. This makes sense.
It's the spanners in the works that's going to throw things off a little bit. But the way it's seeded, it's actually
John
like
Scarrett himself picks The Thing.
Yeah.
Halloween versus Mouth of Madness.
Interesting.
I'm pulling for The Thing overall. Winner being The Thing overall, but I think Halloween will win. And Stephen Pope predicting that I've already chosen The Thing as the winner. How dare you, Stephen? How very dare you? It's not like we did an entire episode where I went on and on about how much I like that film. Anyway, I also did another episode where I talked about 2 other Carpenter movies that I really like. So maybe it's not as predictable as you thought. Who knows? We'll find out.
Should we run through what we've done so far? We've got the first one we did was the Coen Brothers and the Big Lebowski one.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
The second one we did was Ridley Scott, I want to say. Is that correct?
Mm-hmm. Yep,
Yeah.
that's correct.
And Blade Runner. No, Alien one.
Alien one, controversially.
That
but
was
yeah.
Mm-hmm.
no, that was made sense to me.
No,
and-
that's fair.
And the next one we did with Sam Mendes and Road to Perdition one, if I remember correctly.
Yeah.
That was
I was very happy about
that.
that,
Was a good
but
one.
still
That was very
surprised.
interesting.
I think it's going to be. I think it's going to be The Thing, but I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But I think the thing will walk away with this, but we'll see.
Prediction from Jesse: They Live in the Fog are both stellar films. This will be a tough one. This is definitely going to be a tough one. There
That's
are a
true.
lot of good films in here.
That's true. So let's talk about how this is seeded and how it's lined up. You notice there's some
Yeah, do you want to zoom in
extra
and
stuff.
give us a little guide?
Yeah, there's some
Matthew?
extra stuff on the side, both here and here. This is because of the nature of the fact that a seeded bracket is best if it is 16, but obviously there are bits pieces that feed into others. So you may think to yourself, oh, it all works in from the outside. It's like, no, technically you have to get through this outside perimeter stuff to get to the inside, to get to the inside, to get inside, and so forth. So what we've got to do first is these two, Village of the Damned versus Ghosts of Mars, which then goes on to versus The Thing. Then you get these two, which goes on to Thing versus whoever wins this one versus these ones, etc., etc. So it's going to be a spaghetti junction, a knot of stuff.
Well, if we do the two outliers first, and then we get down
we
to a
will, yeah.
nice, neat
A
16,
clean
I
thing.
believe.
Yeah, I think so. So let's start on this side. Village of the Damned versus Ghost, singular, Ghost of Mars.
Ghosts of Mars. Yeah.
Ghost of Mars.
So,
yeah.
to give you a little context, of course, I've got the Rotten Tomatoes stuff and the release dates and all that kind of stuff here. Village of the Damned is a 1995. It's an hour and 38 minutes. It's 31% on the tomatometer. And to contrast, John Carpenter's Ghosts of Mars, released in 2001, is 1 hour and 37 minutes, and is a 21% on the tomatometer.
Neither of them ranking well there.
Yeah. There's a
and
reason these two have to fight it out in the initial
Yeah.
round.
I have not actually seen either of these.
Interesting.
What about you, Jack?
I have not seen Village of the Damned.
Okay.
I have seen Ghosts of Mars.
So we're at a point where we can make an assessment, but not necessarily a comfortable one.
Well, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So for those who have never been on this stream before or watching the YouTube, what we do, because there's three of us, is we go down. Look, we obviously have a discussion about what we think about the movies, who's seen what our opinions are, discuss, debate, blah blah blah. Throw out to you guys to have some discussions, and then it'll be, let's say, Jack, Tim, Matt, then Tim, Matt, Jack, and Matt, Jack, Tim. Just roll it through. So it's possible
Keep it
that
rotating.
before I even get to my choice or my opinion, although I will give it, obviously, Jack and Tim might have sealed the fate of the movie and gone, nope, that's it, we decided it's this. So it keeps it that way, so it's nice and clean. Obviously, there is always the problem of, like, in this case, Tim hasn't seen either of them, in which case we might need to throw out to the live stream audience here with us, just to give us a bit of a, what do you think? What's the general consensus? What's the vote? So that we can have a bit of an informed...
John Scarrett is picking The Village of the Damned purely for their haircuts. From an artistic perspective and a design perspective, I can respect that, John. That makes sense. A lot of people saying that the Ghosts of Mars was originally a Snake Plissken script. Was originally the plan. Originally supposed to be a Snake Plissken film.
Basically a western.
Escape from
It's,
Mars, of course.
Is it Rio Bravo, but set on Mars?
Kind of.
Essentially, yes. Yeah.
Just redoing Assault on Precinct 13 again.
With Ice Cube. And Jason Statham.
It's difficult
Is it a
because
Staith joint? Oh, I didn't.
Oh,
know
yeah.
that.
It's a Stath joint. Yeah. Ice Cube, Natasha Henstridge, Jason Statham, Clea Duvall, Pam Grier, Joanna Cassidy. Yeah, it's quite a cast.
the tricky thing is that Village of the Damned is a straight up remake.
Yes, it is.
That nobody was asking for.
Because the
Which
original.
technically so was the fucking thing.
Yeah.
Well, that's also true. Yeah.
So
I'm going Ghost of Mars. I've seen it. I didn't hate it. I don't like it, but I didn't hate it. So that's my vote.
as Tim
Tim,
hasn't seen it, I'll
you're
jump
next.
to... Oh, sorry.
Sure. Yeah. Go to you, Matt.
Because obviously we have to jump to the audience for Tim. We obviously Tim give his opinions, obviously. But just to clarify where we sit on this, I'm going to vote Village of the Damned.
Interesting.
So it is going to come down to Tim and the team, as it were, the people on the live stream. So
it's a pre-Staith the Staith for the record,
Yeah.
Tim. So
yes, true.
that's around the era of Transporter, but not quite. I think Transporter might be later that
Yeah.
year or
Pre-
2002,
pre-Crank.
2003, something like that. Yeah, Crank Transporter kind of stuff. I saw Village of the Damned when I was 15. I remember being creeped out by it, but I don't remember enjoying it.
Fair.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like Ghost of Mars, but Village is superior. Okay, so a vote there for Village. Somebody who's actually seen both. As a youngster, I always got Village of the Damned and Children of the Corn mixed up. Me too. I thought they were the same thing until about a year ago. Plus, my first experience, it was probably a Simpsons parody.
Yeah.
Welcome to the club, Andy's doing. That's my experience as well. As you know, has become kind of a parody of a parody now, is that I just experience films through The Simpsons and have never actually seen any real films, just the parodies.
Yeah, I mean, my gut says go with Ghost of Mars, because even though it's Carpenter retreading something he's already done better, but just on Mars, like the Village of the Damned was so unnecessary as a like the
Sure,
original is
sure.
very good. The short story it's based on was good. Yeah, my gut says, even though it's got a worse rating,
Your
push
sway
Ghosts
says
of
go-
Mars through.
Ghosts.
I don't think it's going to be getting any further.
I think we can almost guarantee that.
Andy Dino would pick Ghost of Mars out of the two. I could rewatch it on a rainy Sunday. Really doesn't matter because it's not going to get past round 2.
Good point.
Fair
Should
point,
we
JFC.
put the ghosts through?
Let's stick the ghosts through,
let's
shall
stick
we?
the ghosts
Click
through.
on the
Let's
ghosts.
just pick the nose. Beep.
So
There it is.
There you go.
Yeah.
That's the interactivity there, folks. That
Good
is
luck, you
the
bastards.
precision engineering
Yep.
from one Mr. John Scarrett right there.
Space
Let's,
alien showdown.
Whiz over to the other side for the other.
Yeah. Whiz.
There's a film we're very familiar with there.
Yeah.
And also a film I have not seen.
Yeah,
so,
I haven't seen The Ward either.
Neither
So-
have
Escape
I.
from LA,
Neither
we've
have
done
I.
an entire episode about. So if you want to hear our
Yeah.
full thoughts on it, please do listen to that episode if you haven't already.
Yep. To
It's
quickly
not awful.
break it down. It's a 1996 sequel to Escape from New York. 53% on the tomatometer at the time of the live stream, which is too high. It's an hour and 36 minutes. And to contrast that, we have The Ward from 2010, which is an hour and 28 minutes. 33% on the tomatometer. So 53 to 33% and about 14 years apart
Yeah.
in time. I
So
haven't seen The Ward,
yeah.
so do I have to pick LA by default? Oh, God.
I mean, Escape from LA is so bad it's fun. I can't from the bits and pieces that I've seen of The Ward, it doesn't look like it ever gets amusing how bad it is, and so my temptation would be to go to purely what is most pleasurable to watch would be Escape from LA.
Yeah. Having
People coming in,
Yeah.
never even heard of The Ward. Somehow Escape from LA, there's James Wilson there. Somehow Escape from LA is the better pick here. If a film got sequelized, does it lose by default? I don't know if The Ward is worse. Can we just null and void this entire selection? Maybe we should do. Escape from LA is pretty dumb, but I like it. Stephen, you're wrong. We fixed it. Go and listen to that episode instead.
I mean, he's right that it's pretty dumb.
It is pretty dumb. You're not wrong. You're not wrong. Matt, I assume you've seen both?
I have.
Of course.
So yeah, Escape from LA. I mentioned the episode. I think there's a lot of silly moments. It's not a good film per se, but the ending is just it's cool. And there's some great moments in that silly film. The Ward. Yes, The Ward is ultimately a very forgettable movie. And you have to remember, 2001, Ghosts of Mars comes out and goes, "Oh Christ, Carpenter's like gone, man. His '90s stuff was weird. It didn't work. He's not coming back." And then he was gone for 10 years. Came back with this very underwhelming indie film that was like, oh, this has no personality to it. There's no Carpenter in it. There's no very much of
It looks
anything. It's
like
very
that
forgettable.
real generic early 2000s horror film where you had like
Yeah.
House of Wax and all the like
Gothica.
spin-offs and sequels and Gothica and all that kind of stuff where it's like pretty woman in dangerous situations. It's horror. Like, okay, 2000s, we get it.
Yeah. And the thing is, he hasn't done a film since. And, you know, it's like, I've been gone for 10 years, I made this. I guess I'll go for another 10 years then. Obviously, he's been doing producer credits and bits and pieces, but it's very bland. So, I'm not at the voting stage yet, but I think this is very clean cut. Even if you haven't seen it, it's clean cut.
As put by James Wilson, The Ward is generic as it gets.
Yeah.
And even just looking at the posters, and I watched a trailer earlier in preparation for this, yeah, it looks generic as hell. So, yeah.
So, Tim, what's your vote?
I vote Escape from LA.
Yes, you
as
do,
pointed out
Tim.
in the-
Yes, you do.
As it's pointed out in the chat, it's got hang gliders in it, so you know.
Hang gliders.
Was it like, we're the night beasts or some bullshit?
Yep.
Death. Yeah, I agree. Escape from LA. Jack, you don't get a save to try and save the ward. And, not that I think you would. Escape from LA
I
moves
wouldn't
in.
anyway. Escape from LA.
So now we have a nice,
Great
clean...
choice of screenshot, by the way, from John Scarrett. There.
Oh yeah, there's some consistently brilliant choices of screenshots
Yep.
from Mr. Scarrett. Expect nothing less.
Okay, we now have a much clean look. And now we have a clean look at it. We can actually go through the pairings.
So this is the Sweet 16, I believe.
Yes.
Yeah!
Is that how
should
that
be.
works? Yeah.
The Thing versus Ghosts of Mars. Starman versus The Fog. Big Trouble in Little China versus John Carpenter's Vampires. They Live versus Dark Star. Whee! Halloween versus Escape from LA. In the Mouth of Madness versus Prince of Darkness. That fucking image.
There we go.
Assault on Precinct 13 versus Memoirs of an Invisible Man. Escape from New York versus Christine. That's what we've got. No, that's the wrong way. For our lineup. Are
Lovely.
we ready to crack on?
Yeah.
Let's do it.
I'm just gonna click it. I'm not gonna bother. It's the thing, isn't it? I mean,
So yeah,
yes.
don't be scared, everybody. It does cycle through, so do bear
Yes.
with us for that.
yes.
And then that little arrow beneath the thing there, you see a little grey arrow there when we're zoomed in, that will take it forward to the next stage later on, if it goes through. Let's just possibly, if it goes through. There you go.
I don't think this is even a discussion. The Thing is one of the greatest
yeah,
movies
no,
of all time, and Ghosts of
yeah.
Mars is shit.
Yeah. Let's not. To put it in perspective, though, The Thing, of course, 1982, has 85% on Rotten Tomatoes, an audience score of 92%, which I think is appropriate. It's an all-time classic, as we've discussed in the Prequelizers episode where we fixed the bollocks remake prequel thing.
Which again, and we were talking about this for a thing. Very much just tying your hands. That one, very difficult thing to even approach. How do you do a prequel to The Thing? I think Jack did a very good job with his one, but again, there's so few avenues you can pursue to precede one of the greatest horror movies, greatest science fiction movies. So yeah, let us move on swiftly to two very different movies.
Yeah.
Very, very different movies. So first off, we have 1984's Starman, of course, starring the lovely and handsome young-faced Jeff Bridges there. 85% on the tomatometer, compared to 2005's The Fog, with a 4% on Rotten Tomatoes. Starring
No, that's the
everybody's
remake,
favourite
surely.
Superman, Tom Welling. It is the remake.
What?
I'm
I was
kidding.
getting riled. Like, that can't be right.
I'm
so furious.
Jesus Christ! I just
The
wanted to
joke
make
was
a
too
Superman
good.
joke about Tom Welling, because I was going to say the best Superman ever, Smallville's Tom Welling. No, 1980, The Fog, 75% on Rotten Tomatoes. I knew I'd get you, Matt. I'm so pleased. 1980 film, The Fog, 75% on Rotten Tomatoes. Again, very different, but yeah, very, very Carpenter, very interesting.
Center. There we go.
Starman versus The Fog. Both 80s films, both very,
Yeah.
very different.
Have you both seen them? Either of them? Both
I have. Yes.
Yes.
Ah, nice. So this is wait, is this our first one we've seen all of them?
I believe
Yes.
so.
Brilliant.
I think I've seen all but one from now on, basically.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Just to kind of throw this out nice and quick in advance. I absolutely love The Fog. I think it's a magnificent movie to follow up with Halloween. So just a good old-fashioned ghost story. I really, really like rewatching it. Starman, I watched when I was like 15 or 16. I found it remarkably fucking dull. I rewatched it as a
Interesting.
more mature adult, my 20s, and appreciated it much more. And thought, oh, okay, I understand. I see what this is now. Still don't like it. So I'm not a
interesting.
fan of Starman personally, but what do you guys
Interesting.
think?
This is tough. I agree with Andy Steen. The Fog, as I haven't seen Starman. I like The Fog, never seen Starman. Never seen either of them, but I like The Fog. It's Mist's attractive cousin. Mist's attractive cousin? That's a sentence I never thought I'd hear. Yeah, so I watched Starman fairly recently, because I went on a Carpenter binge like I said, around the time when the Thing remake came out, so about 10 years ago or so, I basically just went like, oh, I haven't seen a bunch of these films. I'm going to watch The Fog, I'm going to watch Starman, and I watched them all within probably a year or so. I made sure I queued them all up and just had them all ready to go.
Mm.
I like them both, but I think The Fog feels more Carpenter for obvious reasons. Not just because it's a horror film, but I think the slow build and the tension and stuff very much kind of calling forward to what he does in The Thing. I think you get that kind of that interesting play with the different characters, like the Reverend guy. I can never remember the Holbrook,
Yes.
the actor. Fantastic, kind of like weird, creepy kind of thing, and yeah, I like them both, but I would go for The Fog probably as well, in my opinion.
Starman is one of those weird things where it's the only John Carpenter film. We should talk about this. Not his school film that won an Oscar. That he's still furious about that he didn't get this. The school said, "Yeah, we're keeping that." It's like, "No, it's my Oscar." It's like, "No, the school made you the Oscar." It's like, "Well, fuck you." And he got very.
That was part of the teaser, wasn't it? Yeah,
Yeah.
Exactly.
He very much shaped his career that way. But Starman, Jeff Bridges got an Oscar nod for best actor. He didn't obviously win it that year, but it's the only Carpenter movie with an Academy Award nomination. You're like, what? But okay. I mean, not include like visual effects stuff, just everything.
Yeah.
Anything.
So yeah, Tim, what are your thoughts before we do the votings?
I really like Starman. I have a lot of affection for it.
Interesting.
I think I saw it when I was early 20s. And I just
yeah,
found
be about the same, yeah.
I really like the performances. I like that it's a little bit. I can see what you mean about it being a bit dull, but I think like one of Carpenter's strongest things is his pacing, and I think it is deliberately slower paced because it's not a thriller, it's not a horror.
Sure.
And I think it is actually more meditatively paced out. The Fog I have seen, but it was a long while ago, and it kind of didn't make an impact on me.
Did you accidentally watch the 2005 version, Tim? Is that what you're saying?
No, I would have remembered the beautiful face of Tom Welling.
Which I believe Carpenter wrote and produced. So, or at least he has a credit as a writer. So, fucking hell. But yeah, thankfully we're not talking about that garbage. So, interesting one from John Scarrett here before we move on. Starman is my dad's favourite movie. Mr. Scarrett's favourite movie. I don't know why. He probably likes stars and men or something.
He should watch a Star War. Lots of men in there. Okay, is it my vote first?
I believe so.
It is. Yes.
The Fog. Fog is my vote. Jack.
I'm also voting for The Fog.
Fair enough.
Tim, I assume you would have gone for Starman?
The dissenting voice for Starman, but
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
Let's click on it.
Nothing wrong with that.
Boop.
The Fog moves
All
forward.
right. Let's okay, there we go.
Here we go. Find vampires. Where are we? Here we go. So, we have 1986's Big Trouble in Little China, which is 78% on the tomatometer, versus, hold on, come on, Rotten Tomatoes, reload. 1998's Vampires, which is 41% on the tomatometer.
That's too
Quite
generous.
the difference there. Yeah.
Too generous.
This might be the easiest one of the whole thing for me. Obviously, Big Trouble. Come on. Has to be.
I've definitely
Don't you
seen...
dare, Tim. Don't
no,
you
no,
dare.
Don't worry. I was going to say,
Somehow
I
at
have
the end of
definitely
it's
seen
one.
part of Vampires. I cannot remember if
okay.
I've seen the whole thing. The only thing I really remember from Vampires is a bit where I think it's in the opening
Don't
scene.
do it, Tim.
where they are attacking like a vampire nest,
Yeah.
and they use
Yep.
a crossbow that is attached to a wire that then is attached to like a truck with a winch outside,
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep.
and it drags the vampire back through the house out into the sunlight and then sets fire. And I remember seeing that and going like, "That's brilliant! That's such a cool idea."
Tim, fan of whaling.
When it's vampires, undead whaling.
Vampire whaling.
Yep. But no, yeah, like Big Trouble in Little China is so great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Getting
I think
pretty
that
universal. Big trouble. Big trouble. Big trouble. No problem for big trouble. Big trouble again.
Vampires has a thing whereby it has the outline of something that could be very interesting, but it isn't. And it came out around the same sort of time as From Dusk Till Dawn and stuff. So there was definitely the sort of like grungy vampire western thing going on, desert vampires and such. And it was it's an interesting idea. It was it was a new sort of take on it, I guess. That was all cool. James Woods is in no way charming enough or cool or suave enough to pull off what is, I guess, a Pliskin-style anti-hero. She comes across like a prick. And they got...
Called Jack Crow, I hasten to add.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
Played by James Woods. Because...
And they got a Baldwin,
Yeah.
but it's Daniel Baldwin.
Remember that, Baldwin? Neither do I.
It also wastes Kari Hiroyuka Tagawa,
Oh,
which
God,
is
yeah.
a cardinal
does.
sin in my
Yep.
books.
Agreed. So,
Yep.
should we do the official voting? Just for argument's sake.
I'll kick it off. Big Trouble in Little China, please.
Big Trouble in Little China.
Big Trouble in Little China. Done.
Although, Tim has made me want to watch vampires now. You're a bad influence, Tim.
Probably just watch that opening sequence and then turn it off and go like,
Agreed,
"Oh, that was a
agreed.
fun short film that someone made about vampires that lasts
The first
12
taste is
minutes."
free. It's a YouTube movie.
Yeah, exactly. Oh, next up we have very interesting comparisons. 1974's Dark Star, 78% on Rotten Tomatoes, versus 1988's They Live, 86% on the Tomatometer. So pretty close in score, 78 to 86%. Very interesting. Very interesting indeed.
Dark Star is such an interesting film because it feels like it should have come out after Alien.
Yeah, seriously.
It feels like it should be a parody of not even parody's the wrong word,
pastiche.
but yeah, kind of. It feels like it should be nodding towards Alien, but it came out 5 years before it,
Yeah.
and so in some ways it's an influence on Alien, and it's like that feels backwards.
It does, yeah. Because it's obviously a 2001, most clearly kind of 2001 parodying,
Yeah.
but it's a weird... If you're right that it feels out of place. If it come out in 1984, I'd be like, oh yeah, that makes sense. That totally makes sense. Like, along the similar lines to like Galaxy Quest and stuff, where you get these kind of big sci-fi parody kind of things that end up being a success themselves. It's a weird thing to happen in the 70s, because I feel like that wasn't even a thing. This film came out before Star Wars.
Yeah.
Like, you look at the poster for Dark Star, even the choice there from John, like, just a glance at that, and you're like, oh, that kind of looks like a Star Destroyer. Like, what's going on there? What's that thing? Like,
It's like, oh,
when I glance at that,
yeah, Star Destroyers, they kind of look a bit like surfboards. Have someone surfing on one, that's a good, fun gag. It's like, no, this was like 3 years before that.
this is before Star Wars. It melts my brain. This is secretly like the most influential sci-fi film of all time, and you've all just kind of forgotten about Dark Star.
Now, I'm going to throw a theory out here.
Oh, shit.
I think John Carpenter is moving backwards through time. Because
So all his bad films come out now.
His bad films come out now, goes to the 90s, getting better, some dodgy stuff, gets to the 80s, brilliant. And that also explains how he could parody all these sci-fi films.
Yeah.
You pre-parody a bunch of stuff that doesn't exist.
Interesting.
Yet. My God.
Yeah.
I don't have a problem with that theory. It's a good theory.
I love it. I love it, Tim. I love it.
Holds water.
He's got one of those faces that he's just kind of been like
Always
40
ancient.
forever as well. Yeah, he's always
Yeah.
been
Yeah.
ancient. You can rock that moustache at any age. So says John Carpenter.
All these people in the 70s going like, you can't make all this music on synthesizers, John. It's like, ha, little do they know.
Do not realise.
Oh, interesting theory here from Canis Rufus. Oh, no, sorry, Canis Rufus here. Is he a Time Lord? Is this regenerations? Like, he's travelling backwards through the time stream in the same way that the Doctor is travelling forwards?
Possibly.
Madness.
Who knows?
Darkstar was also written by the fellow who wrote Alien, Dan O'Bannon.
That's right.
So,
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
there you go. That's mental. What do you reckon, gentlemen? Have you seen both? First of all,
I have seen both.
Obviously,
Yes,
I'm not asking you, Matt. For future reference, Matt, I assume you've seen everything on this list.
I have, yeah.
You only
you
have
go,
to
I won't
say
ask
when
you
you
from now.
haven't seen things.
Yeah, exactly. By default, you have seen it, and if you haven't, then yeah.
Yeah.
Understood.
Tim, have you seen both?
I have seen both, yes.
Okay, good. I believe it's your vote, Tim. It's to you first.
For all Darkstar's weird, like, prophetic visions of what sci-fi would go on to become, like, They Fucking Live is so good. It's still...
It's a
still
wrestler doing a
relevant.
film good.
It's,
Rowdy Roddy
that
Piper, rest in
fight
peace,
scene,
man. Like,
the fucking... the satire is so good. Yeah, absolutely. They Live. Carries
came
on
here to
through.
chew bubblegum and kick ass, and I'm all out of bubblegum. They fucking live. Just enough said. They
Yeah.
live. So fairly unanimous in the chat. Matt, how about you?
Yeah, I'm going to put it away. It's They Live.
Okay,
because
good.
Darkstar is a
Unanimous
very
decision.
interesting piece, but at the end of the day, They Live has an unfortunately prescient message that is still unfortunately very prescient. The classic "open your fucking eyes" and shoot everyone in this bank. You real fucking ugly. So yeah, it's a clean one. Jack, what would you have gone for?
They live as well. Yeah,
Okay,
it's unanimous.
that is the Eastern Quadrant done. No, Western Quadrant done. It's flipped on the screen for me, so I'm confused.
Yeah. Get it.
Shut your face! You don't know my life. I'm facing south, aren't I? So it's fine. I don't know what I'm talking about. Right. So moving over here, we now have Halloween versus Escape from LA. Oh, tricky.
We already touched on Escape from LA, as I mentioned, 1996, 53% on the tomatometer, compared to 1978's Halloween, which is 96% on the tomatometer. Again, is this a round we really need to debate, gentlemen?
Yeah, Halloween is
But
like.
guys, Escape from LA is so influential.
But look at Bruce Campbell's gross face, isn't that just? I mean,
My
that is,
God,
to
they're
be fair, that
real.
is a brilliant screenshot, as we said. But
Yeah,
we're
Halloween is.
getting ones in from the
astonishing.
chat. Obviously, LA. For me. Does this even need a vote? Like, it seems people
Yeah.
are pretty on the side of Snake Plissken.
I don't
it
think
seems.
there's a specific punctuation for sarcasm that exists. I mean, it's supposed to be in theory the open and close brackets with an exclamation mark. I believe that is what is the
Yeah.
accepted form of,
Oh,
of
yeah.
sarcasm.
Yeah.
But that I think is a an emoji that turns into an anus. So I'm not entirely sure if we should use that. But I assume everyone's being sarcastic. Yeah, I mean, I've seen Halloween
Of course.
more times than I can count. As much as I've seen Escape from LA a lot. I've seen Halloween in the cinema twice, and I haven't seen Escape
wow.
from LA in the cinema at all.
You are very old, so that does make sense.
Yeah. I'm not traveling through time in any way, shape, or form. Just stationary in it.
God, you and John Carpenter are like River Song and the Doctor, like traveling backwards across time against each other.
lovers!
You both have excellent facial hair, so there you go.
Thank you. It gets knotted
Yeah.
in each other when we kiss.
Oh, it's like Velcro.
He has all the hair. I have none of the hair.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
does
to be
he
fair-
have all of the hair?
He's got a skullet. It's fine.
Yeah,
He's
exactly.
like, if he takes off his shirt, he's like Robin Williams.
Oh, no. Don't need that.
Good lord.
Nobody needs that. It's
Fair
me
enough.
first, isn't it, on the old vote?
It is, yeah.
Halloween, please.
Thank God. Halloween for me as well, please.
Tim?
Halloween.
Halloween
This
is a
is-
goddamn masterpiece.
Halloween, and again, this will cycle through, so do not get alarmed. Like, oh no, what's Matt done? Oh no, what's Matt done? Matt's done the right thing.
There we go.
Yeah.
That's fine.
Oh, this is an interesting one to be set up against each other. It's almost like if you tried.
Very, very interesting.
Yeah.
Let me get these ones up. Bear with me. Prince of Darkness. There we are. In the Mouth of Madness. Here we go. Prince of Darkness, 1987, an hour and 42 minutes, 58% on the tomatometer. In the Mouth of Madness, 1995, an hour and 35 minutes, 58% on the tomatometer. Now, both 58%ers, interesting.
Have you read Sutter Kane?
Very interesting.
That was a reference, everybody, to the thing. Sutter Kane is. Don't worry about it. It's a reference to in the Math of Madness. It was very clever and funny.
We'll take
That's
your
all you
word
need
for
to
it.
know. That's all you need to know.
I talked about, these films in my trilogy, the thematic trilogy episode we discussed. The devil is an ooze thing in Prince of Darkness.
Yeah.
Mouth of Madness being this weird Lovecraftian thing with Sam Neill meta experiencing and his own film that he's in, and all this mad shit, and how it's the Apocalypse trilogy tying together with the Thing, and it's about the destruction of the self, destruction of community, and then destruction of the human species and consciousness as we know it, and it keeps expanding and expanding and going more and more mental. I really actually like In the Mouth of Madness. Like, legit. And I talked about it on the episode as well. I think that is a legit good film. I think it is underrated.
Same.
Good.
Entirely the same. I agree entirely. In the Math of Madness is a genuinely very interesting film and quite an entertaining one for me. I don't own on Blu-ray yet because they haven't released a decent edition that's of a reasonable price. I'll get it eventually. It's on my list.
I'm still waiting for the UK Blu-ray.
There it is.
You and John just in sync right now, Matthew.
I will probably get a message from him saying it's now on the Arrow Academy, whatever it is.
Yeah,
Go.
Exactly. You two will buy the 2 copies that are available.
They make them just for me and him.
Tim, what are your thoughts comparing
I
these
haven't
two
actually
of the
seen
Apocalypse
either of
trilogy?
these.
Oh.
But based on your description from back when we did the thematic trilogies, like, I'd be interested to see In the Mouth of Madness. Prince of Darkness doesn't really hold that much appeal.
I'd watch it, but I wouldn't say it's when you have to go out there
It's
and
just all right.
prioritize.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like both, but In the Mouth of Madness is very good and needs more love. Well said, James Wilson.
I believe it's your vote.
I think
Jack.
it's me vote. In the Mouth of Madness, absolutely.
Now, since Tim said he hasn't seen them, but it's more interesting thing. But I'm going to clean up anyway with the Math of Madness. So,
Yep.
no worries. In the
Go
mouth
forth,
of Sam Neill.
Sam Neill, with your crosses.
There he is.
There we go.
Scroll down, shall we? Fucking hell's sake.
Good Lord. Right, let me get these ones up. Assault on Precinct 13 and Memoirs of an Invisible Man. So we have Assault on Precinct 13, 1976, an hour and 31 minutes. 98% on the tomatometer versus Memoirs of an Invisible Man, 1992, an hour and 39 minutes, 24% on the tomatometer. Is this another round where we even need to debate it? Because it's Carpenter, and like, I know we talked about Ridley Scott being one of the most like hit and miss directors. Like, he goes from absolute stone cold classics to unwatchable garbage. But good Lord, Carpenter's up there with the weirdest like hit and miss career.
It's like he's really good at the things he's good at and terrible at everything else, except when he's also bad at the things he's good at.
Well, yeah, exactly.
This should be a no
Exactly.
brainer for him. Oh wait, no, he's fumbled it.
Yeah.
Assault on Precinct is a remake of a Western, and it's done very well, and also a really interesting commentary on society in America at the time. And let's face it now, the remake was a piece of shit. We're not going to talk about that. With John Leguizamo and Lawrence Fishburne and stuff.
Yep.
Memoirs of an Invisible Man, I watched at a young age and appreciated it because I'm like, oh, I love Invisible Man movies. Can't wait until Hollow Man comes out. Fucking hell. And
What could
'cause I-
possibly go wrong?
I genuinely love Invisible Man concept stuff. I mean, it's my favorite Universal Monster product. The Lee Winnell thing from last year was fucking amazing. I genuinely adore it. This one I remember seeing as a kid, or preteen, and just thinking, oh, I wonder how they did all this. And the problem is that the whole movie is driven on, we've got the technology, we can probably do a really good version of Invisible Man. Who should we put in the lead role here? Chevy fucking Chase. Sake.
Minus points per Chevy Chase.
Yeah, seriously.
Fletch himself.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and it's not like the script was great, but I mean, there's some of the visual effects are quite interesting. Because obviously, it's pretty cool. Like, the opening scene is him talking about how it talks about a very very okay. It makes its own rules that then don't make sense later. So if the Invisible Man eats something, it goes in and you see him digesting it, and it's like, right, and visually it's a very cool sequence. But it's like, so wait, we're seeing literally just a man walking around as a sort of waist-high turd for a while. Where is he? Oh, there he is. That compacted
Is
turd
it just a
in a
bag
column.
of piss just hanging out?
Yeah. It's like, but if that's the case, is it just his blood is fine, but it's just things he's putting in his body? Why are they see-through? What? It's dumb. It doesn't make sense.
National Lampoon's Invisible.
Yeah.
Where he's just a floating poo for half the film.
Yeah.
Is this my vote first or Tim's?
Speaking of which, Memoirs is a pile of dog shite.
Yeah, clearly. Is it you first, Tim, or is it me?
I think it's me first. It's
Then it
Assault
is,
on
yes.
Precinct 13, but
Yeah,
all the
same.
way.
Let's get rid of it.
Oh.
Jack?
Absolutely, Assault on Precinct 13.
Good.
Hello, Tim.
And
We have a toothless. Is it frozen?
well, we're back. That's good. There was a
Hey.
momentary lapse of stuff. It was quite terrifying. You broke the system by picking.
Yeah.
The cat has broken the system. Hello. What are you doing? You mad cat. Oh, she's wiggling. She's wiggling. See you later. Doesn't like being picked up. Tried to get her on the screen.
So I did it anyway.
Didn't work.
You'll take my love.
Anyway,
Mm-hmm.
over to Escape from New York versus Christine. Escape from New York, we've talked about it before, funnily enough, in our Escape from LA episode. 1981, an hour and 40 minutes, 86% on the tomatometer. Christine, 1983, an hour and 50 minutes, and 69% on the tomatometer.
50.
Nice.
Thank you. Thank you, Tim. Thank you.
I'm still just irked by
Christine is the
length
other
of-
one I haven't seen. Just putting it out there. So obviously Escape is going to go through for me because I fucking love Escape from New
Sure,
York. It's
sure.
ridiculous and amazing.
Kill
I-
a car. Ooh.
Yeah, I have seen Christine. It's not good.
It is the killer car movie, right?
Yes. Yes.
Yeah.
It's from that period of time where Stephen King was basically just writing whatever the fuck he liked.
Leaned out his window and thought, dog? Kill
He
a
did-
dog?
Kill a dog,
kill a car?
scary dog, scary pets.
Somebody did
Scary.
a parody, did like a killer tire not too long ago that was actually quite scary, didn't they? I can't remember what that was called.
Rubber, I believe it's called.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is actually quite good, apparently.
Yeah, I think it's more of a like black comedy than it is an actual
Yeah.
horror.
Yes.
But yeah,
Yes.
yeah.
I don't think
Yeah,
it's much to
no,
discuss here because Escape from New York is so good.
Escape
and
from New
Christine
York
is
is
so boring.
brilliant, and Christine is so fucking stupid.
There
It's
we
like,
go.
oh my god, who knew this car could be dangerous? It's like, cars kill people anyway, for
Yeah.
fuck's sake.
Yeah.
Let alone if you've seen Jewel or something. It's like, oh, fuck me.
Again,
Yeah.
parodied on The Simpsons with an evil car.
Yes.
Yes.
There you go. Matt, I believe you're up first for the votes.
Sorry, Escape from New York, please.
Obviously. Same for me, funnily enough. Escape
And
from New
same
York.
here.
Boosh.
Oh,
Ooh,
we're
we
getting
got
Emma
our-
and Toothless
our
on the
actual-
stream.
Eastern
I
quadrant
just heard Toothless and she was not happy.
of stuff.
Hold on, let me see if we can get
It's
Emma and
now-
Toothless here. There she is. I'm trying to get there we go. There's the cat. Giving
We're
the people
down to
what they want.
a fateful 8.
Yes.
We are.
I'm
are
just
indeed.
looking over this to see if there's anything that was outside my initial pick of what I thought would happen. And weirdly
I think it's
enough,
all been fairly straightforward so far.
everything is exactly as I expected it to be. So far.
The one I wasn't sure about was the Fog and Starman, because I was wondering
would've-
what,
yes,
what
that might have
side.
come
That's
close,
probably
yeah.
been the most contentious for me for these picks so far.
Sure.
So, yeah. Everything else has been fairly predictable, I think.
Well, let's
So
run to
there-
the
There's been some very
specificities,
clear
shall we?
winners of some other stuff, but yeah.
The Thing versus The Fog. Scroll, scroll, scroll. Big Trouble in Little China versus They Live. Scroll, scroll, scroll.
Nice.
Don't touch the triangles. Scroll, scroll. Halloween versus In the Mouth of Madness. Scroll, scroll. Don't touch the triangles. Scroll. Assault on Precinct 13 versus Escape from New York. Scroll, 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 scroll. Don't touch the triangles. Scroll, scroll. Whew, okay.
Easy.
It
Yeah,
This is another
it's
easy
still,
one.
it's still the thing.
It's still the thing. I love the
As
fog.
Mike
It's
says,
so fun, but fuck it, it's
the
the
thing.
thing. Come on, man.
It's the thing. Clearly the thing.
Yeah. It's frustrating when
clearly the
a
thing.
director has 2 or 3 or 4 really, really, really good movies, but one that is one of the greatest movies of all time. And you're like, I wonder where this is
Yeah.
going. But the
No,
journey is just
yeah,
important.
yeah.
Mm.
He's got
Uh,
he's
right,
got
so
a few
let's-
masterpieces under his belt, in my opinion.
I think
Yeah.
so. Right,
Yeah.
let's put up the
Which
thing
we will
again.
discuss.
This is going to cycle, so don't get too worried.
Bear with us.
There it is.
There we
There
go.
there we go.
Okay.
Just make sure you don't scroll too far.
Yep.
I'll just have to scroll back. It'll be fine. Cycle back through. This is actually a tricky one. I'm not going to lie. I'm not sure with this one.
Whose turn is it to be voting first? I don't want to influence the vote too much. Yeah, I think it's Tim's. There's a clear winner for me, but that's just. I think this is pretty tough. This is very close because I think they touch on similar kind of ridiculous, over the top 80s action kind of
Yeah,
Uh,
definitely.
yeah
Yeah.
themes, I suppose.
I really like Big Trouble in Little China, and I think Kurt Russell is brilliant in it. I think if I had seen it when I was a bit younger, because I don't think I saw it until I was about maybe like 18 or something.
Okay.
I think if I'd have
me
seen
too.
it when I was younger, it would be even higher in my estimations.
Yeah, makes sense. It's quite childish. at times.
Interestingly, this is split in the chat as well. We got
Mm,
Yeah.
They Live, and then it's got to be Big Trouble,
mm.
Big Trouble, and then Mike has declared war against Jonathan Firth Clark. They're fighting in an alleyway for 20 minutes.
Yeah. Yeah, I think They Live wins out for me just because of the satire is really on point.
Yeah.
The visuals are so great. I mean, the visuals are great in both of them, to be honest. And it wouldn't, the fight wouldn't be the same. I'd kind of be fascinated to see Kurt Russell in They Live in the same role.
Oh God.
But because I think he's a more charismatic actor than
Yeah, of course.
Roddy Piper. But like Roddy Piper does a pretty fucking great job in They Live.
He does.
Um,
He's one of the greatest talkers in the history of wrestling, so that kind of makes
Yeah.
sense. One of
And
the best
fucking
heels, one of the
Keith
best talkers.
David is so good in that
Keith
film.
David's always good.
Yeah, I vote for They Live.
So
Matthew?
yeah, there are some issues, some stuff like some amalgamation of Asian culture and such. But my vote is Big Trouble in Little China.
Ooh.
Interesting.
So
Comes
it
down to
throws
me
to
with the
Jack.
deciding vote.
Yeah.
Is this our first big deciding thing? Oh no, my Starman might probably one of them as well. Yeah. Oh no, it didn't get to. No, this is our first big one where the third person has
Yeah.
to decide. Yeah, sorry, my apologies.
It
yeah.
is, yeah.
Yeah.
We've seen both, and we like both. We
Yeah.
actually have to make a hard choice, and I've got to make that hard choice. You better believe it's Big Trouble in Little China.
Oh, controversial.
Just.
I think for me
But-
that would be because of the fact that the opening 15 minutes of They Live is a little too slow. If I had to give it a reason. Okay, so cycle through too. Oh, it's
There
like
you
it
go.
knew. It's like it knew. That's going to be unpleasant.
Pre-programmed by John Scarrett's effects.
He knew all along.
Oh, there we go. Big Trouble board game is also great. And what I've heard is that Outpost 31, the Thing board game, is fucking fantastic as well, apparently.
I've played it.
That makes
it's
a lot of
magnificent.
sense.
There is a problem with it. It
I
costs
have
too much
no
money.
idea what a Big Trouble
It's-
board game would be like.
Yeah, I
but
can't
I'm kind of
imagine a Big Trouble
fascinated.
board game. But yeah, Outpost 31, the Thing board game, is out of print and is incredibly hard to get, but is apparently fucking fantastic. You can do
it's
blood
so
tests
built
on
for-
people, and you basically it's social deduction type stuff, as you can imagine.
Yeah.
It's resistance, it's ultimate werewolf, it's all that kind of stuff where you're trying to. One of us is the Thing. Are two of us the Thing?
Maybe we can
I
do a
don't
thing.
know.
A thing. Maybe we can do something in the. Maybe we can do an event in the future where I borrow our friend Dan's copy of Outpost 31 and we play it on a stream or something. We've got so many cameras set up, so
I would love to do
That
that.
would be a lot of fun.
Be a lot of.
I'm just looking
fun
up right now. So from local retailer Zatu Games, who are based not far from us in Norwich, it is currently listed as £121 and 99p.
It's a
You
small
can see
game.
it for 150.
It should be
for
more than 40 quid.
230 on eBay.
Yeah.
It's absolute madness.
Speaking of
speaking of
madness,
I'd love to play it. Hey.
Can I play with madness? Maiden. Right, Halloween versus the Math of Madness. Who's up first? It's me.
it is you.
Yes, it is you.
As I said before, I really like Halloween, and I really like the Math of Madness. And I'm really, really torn because Halloween is very important for cinema. As one of the first official sort of slasher films, I've watched it so many times. In the Math of Madness is, as a filmmaker and a writer and as a storyteller, fascinating. There's so much going on there that's just, trying to do something and say something in a meta sort of way. But yeah, I've got to vote Halloween. I've got to vote Halloween. I can't not, I'm afraid. So Halloween for me, please.
I wholeheartedly agree. Halloween is the most influential. It has spawned essentially an entire genre, as well as a few questionable and some good sequels for a reason.
few,
There's a reason
fucking
it's so influential. Yeah, exactly. 17 fucking terrible sequels. But yeah, as much as like I said, I really, really think if you take anything away from this, that, if you haven't seen any of these films, go and watch The Thing, go and watch Big Trouble, go and watch Escape from New York, the big hitters, go and watch Halloween, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But if you have seen some of the big hitters and you haven't seen In the Mouth of Madness, I really, really recommend it. If you want to hear why, and I go into a whole rant about how good it is and why it works so well with The Thing and Prince of Darkness as a trilogy, go back and listen to the Thematic Trilogies episode from a couple of years ago now, a year or so, however long it is.
Goddamn.
I like that movie, but it has to be Halloween for sure.
Tim, would you have voted? I know you haven't seen.
I haven't seen In the Mouth, but Halloween is a Stone Cold classic.
Tim, go
Stone
watch In the
Cold
Mouth of Madness.
classic. Yes.
Good luck finding a copy. Okay.
Yeah, exactly.
Let's see how many clicks it takes. 1, 2, 3, 4.
Nice.
No, it's 3. 1, 2, 3.
There we go. Thank God.
I forgot what I was fucking doing.
I was so worried you couldn't go back and it didn't cycle around.
Sorry, guys. We've got to keep in the Mouth of Madness. I've sabotaged it. Speaking of sabotage, these films have sabotage. I don't know why I said that. Oh, look at this. I mean, obviously, I don't want to spoil things for anyone who hasn't seen things on Disney Plus, but there are moments when you see a stubbly Wyatt Russell in certain poses in things like Falcon and Winter Soldier, and think, Kurt Russell, what the fuck are you doing here?
He's got the chin.
Yeah,
He's got
I'm so
such a
used to
big
seeing him
Russell
with
chin.
a big beard that seeing him even broadly close shaven is weird, and you do go like, holy shit, you are Kurt Russell's son.
Yep.
Yeah.
But he knows the beard suits his face better, or at least the stubbly close beard, shall we say. But anyway, that's not what we're discussing right now. We're discussing these two movies. I'm just obfuscating and just deflecting because procrastinating because I don't want to pick between these two.
going back to Mouth of Madness briefly, we're watching In the Mouth of Madness this weekend as an assignment from another podcast following after Event Horizon.
Oh, very good.
That's a hell of a lineup right there. Let us know what podcast, Mike. Let's give them a shout out. I'm interested to listen and give them a shout out on the stream as well.
I fucking love me some Event Horizon. Great movie.
Me too.
What's about the director's cut of Event Horizon? There's a really, really, really graphically violent one. Like, it was pretty violent as it was.
Yeah.
Assault on Precinct 13 vote. Escape from New York vote. Precinct 13 again from Andy. It's back around to me, isn't it, I think?
Yeah.
Yes.
I've got to pay attention to that sweet stubbly chin and go Escape from New York. There's a reason Snake Plissken is Snake Plissken and basically created Solid Snake from Metal Gear Solid and all that kind of shit. Yeah, Escape from New York is a banger. It's a classic. Tim?
Snake Plissken is so cool. But here's the thing people don't realise is that fucking Napoleon Wilson is just as cool as Snake Plissken. He just doesn't get the respect. And I prefer Assault on Precinct 13.
Wow.
I think it's a better film. I think it is a masterclass in tension. It's so simple and it's so great. And I fucking love that film. And the remake go straight to hell.
You most definitely.
That's fair. Before we get to your difficult decision here, Matthew, it is not Transylvania Salt Mine. Thank you. Other comment from Mike. It's We Enjoy, hosted by former IGN guys Eric Goldman and Matt Fowler. I know that podcast because they used to do a podcast called We Enjoy Wrestling, and they've now branched out to talk about other stuff. Because Matt Fowler was basically the one wrestling correspondent at IGN for years and years and years. So yeah, go and check out We Enjoy. I listen to that show. I really like it. I'm well behind, as you can probably tell. But yeah, I really like that show. You guys can check it out as well. And fuck Napoleon Snake all the way. Great choice, Tim. That's why you're the favourite one.
Fine words.
Yeah.
Matt.
And Matt, come on. Difficult decision here.
Okay. Let's break it down.
Here we go. 40 minutes later. Classic Stockton.
And then I just tossed the coin anyway. Assault on Precinct 13 is a great melding of Rio Bravo and Night of the Living Dead. And it's a great early film because obviously you got somebody who is early in his career doing a sort of chamber piece, something very limited but also very tense and very well done. Escape from New York is dystopian science fiction set in a literally bombed out New York with a plane that's been torn in half. So from an early filmmaker, so early in his career, this is what, like 4 years later. That's come so far. That's astonishing. So I can rate them on both in terms of how they're constructed, how they're acted, and what they are.
Well,
but
while you're doing that, we haven't got a week, Matt. Let's get to this one.
But I am going with Escape from New York.
Yes. Tim's walked, folks. Tim has walked.
The first walk out of these things.
He's gone. Tim has walked. Hey, he's back.
Hey, Tim.
Back.
Not happy, guys.
That's fair. That's fair. That's why we do this. Like all the fucking.
I had no idea you were that passionate about Precinct 13.
Oh, I love it so much.
It is amazing.
And that fucking. It's great.
Like we go on
it's
about
98% on the tomatometer for a reason. Like,
I mean, we talk about that final moment in Escape from LA where he's just like, fuck the world. The bit at the end where he's got a light. It's so good.
Tim is not wrong. If this should be what we always maintain with these showdowns and us going through the filmography of various directors. If anything, this should prove if you haven't seen some of these movies, you need to check them out.
Absolutely. Andy's on your side there, Tim. Furious.
Glad.
And feel Tim's fume. The rage from Tim Maton.
His carbon emissions.
Soundtrack.
Hashtag we stand with Tim. Totally stand with Tim.
Oh, if it comes down to soundtrack, yeah, they're both amazing. But to me, again, Escape from New York wins soundtrack. Sorry, dude.
Oh,
It's so good.
Too Tim, too furious. Anyway,
fair enough. I've been outvoted. I respect democracy, but you know,
That's all we can do. That's all we can do.
if this
We've
were
got-
a dictatorship,
Would Assault
got
on Precinct
Kurt Russell
13
versus-
have won for you, Tim?
I don't know if it had
Overall.
won, but it be
ooh,
Would be the
it's
final two,
up
maybe.
there.
Okay.
There we go,
Interesting,
Tim.
interesting.
you've done your good deed for the day. Tim's fury has convinced me to watch this movie.
That's all you
You
can do.
will
Absolutely.
You will not be
In
disappointed.
the Mouth of
Mike.
Madness and Assault on Precinct 13 are probably two of the lesser known ones
Agreed.
that
agreed.
are absolute brilliant films. So go and watch both of those if you haven't already. I
I'll watch
assume
yours
most
done.
of you have probably seen Halloween and The Thing and Big Trouble and all the big ones. Go and watch Assault on Precinct 13 if you haven't, folks. It is bloody fantastic.
And the Ward.
Speaking of which,
Don't watch the Ward.
don't watch The Ward. Don't watch The
And
Ward.
Memoirs of an Invisible Man.
Say Memoirs of a
No.
Geisha. I was like, that's not John Carpenter. Right.
Kurt Russell versus Kurt Russell. McCready versus Burton.
Versus Kurt Russell.
Kurt
versus,
Russell.
We didn't know Kurt Russell at the time. But let's face it, you
I
put him
haven't
in there
met
somewhere.
Kurt Russell yet.
Yeah. Shit, man.
They're already the chat are behind you, Tim. We already know you're the favoured one, but John is trying to incite a coup with Timulizers, and I'm not sure I'm down for that. Well, not that I have a choice. I will be usurped by
Yeah.
the Timulizers. But
My time will come.
It's like Attack on Titan
Yeah.
right now. Jesus.
your time, your Tim will come.
Well, quite. Yeah, I mean this is tricky. Such different films, and such
Blazers?
different,
No, Mike, go away.
such different Kurt Russell performances.
Burton and McCready couldn't be like polar opposite if they tried.
Yeah.
It shows the dynamic range of a young Kurt Russell.
One in a coat, one in a vest.
There's,
Exactly.
there's a reason. There's a reason he
One
was
with a
Walt
big
Disney's
beard,
last
and one with
word.
a slightly smaller beard.
Mhm.
That's so weird to me. I remember you guys literally told me that on the podcast, and it melted my brain. Melted my brain. Like, what do you mean it was his last? I was like, yeah, it's just Walt Disney just said, Kurt Russell. What? That might be like one of my
Freeze
favorite
my
bits of
head,
trivia.
Kurt Russell.
Yeah, I love this. Like,
I have not long to live. Tell Mickey I see him in hell. And Kurt Russell.
I assume he had smoked like 50 cigarettes. I assume he had a very deep gruff.
Exactly,
voice.
yeah. Anyway,
I think a comment in the chat by Andy, like,
Yep.
it's,
Yep.
Big Trouble is great, but it with every year it ages about 3 years.
yeah.
True.
Whereas The Thing is timeless, and it's one of those ones that people can study that film as just
Yeah.
like how perfect it is in terms of its execution.
Yeah.
Yep.
So yeah, I don't know what the order of voting is anymore.
I don't know what it's
Does it-
real. I think it's
Yeah.
Tim first, is it?
It is you first, Tim.
Okay, well, The Thing for me.
Okay.
I think yeah.
I'm a little disappointed that John Carpenter doesn't sing the theme tune for The Thing. Like he does in Big Trouble. Big Trouble, Little China. The thing coming out of space. Is he a dog? No, he's over there.
Just doing the
But
heartbeat.
Ennio Morricone's score for The Thing, it's one of those rare examples it's not Carpenter doing a fucking synth
It's
keyboard.
so weird that it's Morricone.
It's
So weird.
fucking good. And then they used it in fucking Hateful Eight. It's The Thing, isn't it? It's Jack.
It is the thing. Obviously, it's the thing.
It's the thing. Let's see what we've got here. Boop. Oh, there it is.
Once again, the thing pretty much perfect with practical effects. For that reason, stands the test of time better. I think that's another thing. And not even from a cultural perspective, the effects in Big Trouble are good. They're good, but the thing is next level. Still, still holds up
Yeah.
30 years later, kind of kind of level. So
Big Trouble's the film you watch at 15 and go, oh, that's so fucking fun. That's so cool. I don't know anything about Asia, clearly. And the amalgam of cultures. And the thing is, you watch when you're like 17, 18 and go, fuck, I think I've changed my life.
yeah,
Yeah.
that's what a real man looks like. My God.
So with spider legs coming out of his fucking face.
Yeah. And then,
That's what a real man looks like.
Exactly.
Got dog bits hanging off him.
right. Semi-finals. More Kurt Russell
Halloween
versus Michael Myers.
Shit.
Matt, it's over to you, good sir, to kick things off.
Let's go with the one I've seen the most. I appreciate them both on various levels, but there's one I've watched a little bit more than the other one. I've watched them both a lot, but there's one I've watched more. And I'll go with that for my vote. So my vote is Escape from New York.
Interesting. I thought for sure you were going to say Halloween there, because you talked earlier about how much you watched Halloween.
I've seen Escape from New York in the cinema as well.
Nice.
Again, not original.
I've also seen one of them a lot more than the other. And it's also a lot more my kind of genre. So I am also going from Escape from New York.
Oh, fuck. People are going to
Yeah.
be angry.
People are gonna, the Halloween fan. The horror film, have you met horror film fans? They're terrifying. They're a rabid fear.
Yeah, it's true.
We're going to get destroyed and pulled apart.
Tim, what would you have gone
Stabbed with a big kitchen knife.
I also would have got Escape from New York.
Oh,
as much as
sweep.
as much as I voted Assault on Precinct 13 over Escape from New York. It's more my cup of tea, and Halloween I think is extremely. It's so influential. Like you can't really overstate how much of an impact it had. But just from a personal preference point of view, that fucking Snake Plissken. I'll take Snake Plissken over Michael Myers
so cool.
any day.
Call me Mike. Mike Myers. It's Michael, isn't it? Yes. No. This is interesting because again, in my predicted showdown, run it through, just see how it would get wargaming, if you will. I thought it would be a Halloween thing finale, and I'm very surprised.
I thought the same thing.
There it is.
Instead, we have
LA
Kurt
versus-
Russell. We once again have Kurt Russell versus Kurt Russell.
Make sure
Because
the
it's
right
a
one.
John
There it
Carpenter
is.
thing.
I am
What a showdown.
surprised. Two science fiction
showdown.
films.
The real question is, how would Snake have handled the thing?
Oh man.
If we could do a crossover where McCready meets Snake.
As we've
Because
discussed,
they did a Escape from New York and Big Trouble crossover in comic book form not too long ago,
Yeah.
where Snake met Jack Burton, but Snake meeting McCready is a whole other thing. I think they have a lot more in common with their kind of nihilistic fucking
Yeah.
outlook.
That's true. I was going to say, I think Snake is one of those wonderful characters where I love the idea of Snake, but he's absolutely fucking useless. He's kind of like, and this is going to be bold here, Indiana Jones, where things just happen around him and he just happens to look cool while it's happening. Like, oh, it must have been because that guy. It's like, he didn't do shit. What are you talking about? It's like, I got the president. It's like, barely. you said you were going to take
John
everyone
Scarrett
with you.
makes a very good point.
What's that?
John Scarrett makes a very good point. Snake would have beaten the chess computer.
Oh,
Yeah.
with his bare hands, maybe. He would have shot it. I mean, McCready used a glass of whiskey, and Snake would have used a gun.
Yeah.
I don't think either of them are logically minded. As
Cheating bitch.
well. Yeah. They're both pilots, I guess. Except, McCready
Yeah,
can land a
yeah,
helicopter
combined,
and
Yeah.
Snake kind of can't keep anything
crash one
on
nicely.
its side.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, it's on the...
Snake.
Yeah.
It's also weirdly comparable to Mad Max.
Yes,
Yes,
oh,
exactly.
very
Good
much so.
call, good
Very
call.
much so. Yeah.
A witness to the wasteland.
Background to me, I believe.
Yeah.
I'm out. Yay!
As much as I love both of these movies, it has to be The Thing. It just has to be. It's just the fact. Also, McCready's hat is bigger. So
Bigger than no hat. Also, he has 2 eyes. Or
Yeah,
10
that
eyes if he's
too.
been, the thinged.
thinged. Is that a verb now? He's been thinged.
Thinged, yeah.
That's
I've got a
fanged
few other votes for
when it's in the past
the
tense.
thing. Sorry, past tense. Yes, sorry, thanked. This is hard, but I need to say the thing. Mike says the thing as well. Andy saying the thing is the winner. I'll watch it again for the umpteenth time tomorrow to celebrate. A lot of votes for the thing. My vote's for the thing. Tim, where do you stand? Kurt Russell versus Kurt Russell.
I mean, the thing I also want to point out here, the thing.
The thing.
these-
The thing. Do you
these
mean
two films
2011
are-
the thing or 1982 the thing? Or 1950s the thing from... We're not doing that again. I'm sorry, I
Oh,
promise.
fucking flashbacks, man.
These two films are 1 year apart in release.
Yep.
Like,
God damn it.
that's incredible. Like,
one
as
of
much
those
as we
damn
said,
it,
like,
John
like John Carpenter's made some real dreck over the years. You're like, yeah, but when he
Not
was
a start.
fucking on, he was on.
Yeah, so like the run that he had, he did so Dark Star 78%, Assault on Precinct 13 98, Halloween 96, The Fog 75, Halloween 2 32%.
Well, he was
86%
producing it, he
Escape from New
didn't
York.
direct it, so it's all-
That's true. 85% for The Thing. Then it dropped. This is when it starts to drop off. Christine, Starman goes back up again, a little bit down to Big Trouble. Prince of Darkness is low. They Live high again, back up in the 80s.
Yeah.
So it's like, yeah, it's a real like a couple of little dips in there, but he's real like consistent.
He does a bit of
80
a
to
Coppola
90%.
or a De Palma. He comes up with some really big smashing stuff, and you're like, "What the fuck has he done recently?" Oh no! Except
Yeah.
you promise you go with it. Oh no, and you group it all together. So you say, "Well, Mouth of Madness must be like everything else he's done in that period, right?" It's like, no, go watch that. It's
Yeah.
good. So Tim, what are you doing?
It's really tricky. It's a Kurt Russell, neutralizes himself.
Fair
Escape
enough,
from New
fair
York
enough.
has fucking Isaac Hayes.
You say
But
that
the
there's like anti Kurt Russell where he just like cancels himself out, and you've got to
Yeah.
factor in.
I'm saying
everything else.
if McCready and Snake Plissken ever shook hands, the energy released would destroy the world.
Yeah.
That's fair. That's
So yeah, Escape from New York has Isaac Hayes as the Duke, and he's great, and he's got a chandelier on his car.
Yes.
But the Thing has
Not
Keith
wrong.
David,
Yeah.
and Escape from New York has Ernest Borgnine as Cabby,
Yeah.
but the Thing has Wilfred Brimley,
Yeah.
and he's great facial hair,
Yeah.
God, what all-time great moustache.
and
No offense, Matt.
the Thing does the Escape from New York has more of a world that it needs to create. Like it creates post-apocalyptic New York, but the Thing is so good. The world that it creates, that Antarctic station, is so beautifully realized and so perfect and so detailed. I'm gonna give it to the Thing.
Done.
Oh, there we go.
Done.
Matt, what would you have said?
I would have gone on and done a bit of misdirect about how the Thing opens with that fucking flying saucer shot that I hate.
The spaceship. Yeah.
The only negative I have that
Well, we had a comment about that earlier.
yeah.
The bad part about it is the opening scene where you see.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah. There we go. Yeah. That's all I
Same
think is
opening
mental.
scene as Predator for no fucking
No
reason, as we discussed on that episode.
Yeah, ruins the movie.
They really well.
No, it doesn't ruin it. But I mean, I'd love it just there. But I was gonna
It's
say,
fucking stupid and unnecessary, and very clearly a studio edition.
yes, true. But as much as I love Escape from New York, and so many aspects of it from a filmmaker side of things, and as we said, Tim said before, that's like 1 year between them is crazy. It was never any doubt in my mind that the Thing was going to win this. There was nothing
Same.
you could put up against the Thing that
In
would make
in
it
my heart, I knew
lose.
I was voting for the Thing. So
Yeah.
I was hoping
The
you guys were gonna do
conversation's
same.
worthwhile. We need to have the conversation. Oh no! Fucking children! Yeah, there
Who
we go.
let Matt in charge? There we go. There we go.
And let's just zoom
Also,
out.
worth noting, Thing has the best Sequelizer episode art. So there you go.
It is horrifying in its own right.
There we go. What a Matt! If you could grab a screenshot of that for us, and
Of course, I'll do it right now.
that's brilliant.
Click.
Get a full view there,
And-
ladies and
and-
gentlemen.
Thanks again to John in the chat
Yes.
for
Absolutely.
making this lovely
Thank you, John Scarrett.
graphic for us.
Yeah, it's very, very cool.
John
Very
Scarrett
helpful for
also
us.
says,
It's nice visual.
Jack just inspired me to do a movie infographic. My work is done. I have no idea what he's talking about. Cool.
You just
Sounds
control
good
the
to me.
hat.
Oh, yes, the hat sizes of Kurt Russell and how his films get better the bigger his hat is, maybe. I don't know.
He doesn't wear a lot of hats. He's got his amazing fucking hair.
Yeah,
need hats.
the luscious
It's like-
locks and various beards.
It's like Jack Burton needs a cap. It's like, you take that fucking thing off his head.
Those majestic locks and leave them
How
alone
dare you.
to flow in the breeze. Well, unsurprisingly, The Thing wins the John Carpenter Showdown.
Nothing wrong with that.
Once again, thank you, John Scarrett, for providing this fantastic little interactive thing, as well as the little intro video, which I will play again at the end, just for those who missed the first few seconds. I will play our little transition and play us out at the end there. And, yeah, thank you very much for tuning in, everybody who's able to join us live. There will be links, we'll post the links to the VOD, the YouTube stuff on our social media very shortly. And if you're a patron, you can access this via the Patreon link that I posted in order to get this live. You can now access the VOD through that as well. And there'll be a new thumbnail there for you to click on and go through all of that as well. So, yeah. Thank you very much for joining us, everybody. And we'll be back next month.
We're going to have a
with
talk
a
now
new-
privately about the next director to do.
Exciting director showdown and
Yeah.
more chat. Probably less wrestling chat, I'm not going to lie.
We never know how it's going to go
But-
down.
You never know.
Yeah.
You never know.
And let us know if there's other stuff you'd like us to cover in these
Yes.
bits. If you'd like us to bring back some of the other games, or more trailer chat maybe, or whatever. Hit us up on social media or on the Discord or whatever, and let us know.
Go to sequelizers.com. You've got all of our social media, all of our Discord, all the Patreon stuff available for you there in one nice little package. Thank you for joining us, everybody. We'll see you next month. Goodbye, and I'll play us out. There we go. Here's our little intro. Now it's an outro from John.
Bang.